What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? We are live. We are live. We are live. My camera's not working. Let me fix this real quick.
Your camera's never working. We go through this every week. Really? Huh. That's kind of goofy because I've never had a problem with the cam link whatsoever.
I never have either until like just a couple. Like I gotta unplug it, plug it back in, and then I gotta deactivate it and reactivate it to get it back up. I don't know. I don't know why it does that. All right.
Very goofy.
Sorry guys, we are live. We are live. Ryan in the chat. Also, we got, who else was in the chat? I know there was someone else in here. Spider. Yo, Spider, what's going on? Ryan says, who is this sexy ginger bearded god?
Ooh. I don't know who this sexy bearded ginger god is.
Yo, look at that smile. You done just...
I came straight, baby. I came straight from Valheim, dude. Straight from Valheim. Bro.
Yeah, that's why you like the game so much. It reminds you of your Nordic blood and your Viking.
Dude, I think that's what it is. 100% agree.
You feel connected with your people.
Yep, exactly. 100% do.
Oh, how's everybody doing tonight, though? Ryan, Spider, how are you guys?
Spider, how are you guys doing tonight? Yep.
Hope you guys are doing well. Yo, to answer your question before we kind of officially kick off the podcast here or whatever, you can't use a camera source in two different applications at the same time. That's the problem.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
So I can't have it on OBS and then also picked up by, Zoom or whatever as well. That's why I don't do that or whatever. Ryan says, Derek, he's got more hair than you. That's nothing new. You know what, Ryan? You know what, dude? Banned. Right off the start.
You can't ban them. We got two less of followers. You can't, or people live with us. You can't ban them. It's all about numbers right now.
Yeah, you're right.
He's only
you're right.
Numbers. Just know that, Ryan. You're only here because of the numbers.
Yo, thanks for that hydrate, Ryan. With my Invisican. Invisican.
Mine is not Invisican. Man, dude, so what have you been up to, man?
Let me
week look like.
Yeah. Let's chat a couple more minutes and then I'll do an official. I don't want to jump into anything yet until I start an official kind of intro. Because obviously after these are over, I got to go in and edit out the section. So normally I try to, I figure, or what I'm starting to do, or what I'm starting to think is kind of, because I know once we kind of get rolling in the podcast, we don't really chat with people, and I know most people kind of join at the beginning and chat for a few. So I figure we'll chat with these guys for a few, and then I'll kind of do the intro and we'll jump into more of the official podcast just for a couple minutes. But you know what I'm saying? Because then I can cut out this beginning part and then go from the, and then it's not, because before, when we first started doing it, the beginning of the podcast would be like the first 10 minutes in the podcast would be us talking to Chad anyways, which I think for the actual podcast, when I upload it to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that, it makes sense for it to kind of start from us going right into the topics. So.
Makes sense, my friend. I got you.
Oh, thank you for the hydrate, Spider. Also, apparently, these guys want to try to drown me tonight. And the stretch, Ryan. Thank you.
You got to get a stretch in, too, my friend.
That's for you, too, Cody. Dude, you're part of this podcast. Dude, you're in this stream. You got to stretch it out, man. Come on, dude.
Nope. I'm going off the edge.
He's disappearing.
I'm not in.
Ryan says Derek be living in the future. Wait, why do I be living in the future? What's that kind of about? God, I didn't get it. Spider says, what's the topic? All right, SpongeBob. Oh, invisible can. Yeah, you right, dude. That's how I do.
Can, dude. Hey, it would have been worse. I would have been a floating head if I would have kept my shirt on that I had on before. You guys missed it. Anybody that's tuning in, guys, I took my shirt off and everything on cam. I was doing a private session for D. He redeemed 20,000 points on stream on Twitch.
It took me a while to save up for that, man. I got to say, though, I don't know if the show was worth it. I kind of wish I would have kept my 20,000 points.
Listen, something you don't know, I'm going to just go ahead and tell you right now, because that way you're going to know. Forever ago, when I first joined in on your streams a couple of times, do you remember me making a joke about adding the ability to redeem points to take your shirt off. Do you remember that? And we said 20,000 points is what we could equate it to. I've been saving and I'm at 17K right now. 3 more thousand comes. Your shirt comes off on stream. I'm holding you to this. Princess will be.
I don't remember, but I will say it can't happen. It can't.
Why?
It's against Twitch toss.
What?
For real.
It's not.
I promise.
Really?
Yeah, not even a guy can be shirtless on a stream.
No.
Yeah. No nipples of any gender can be shown.
Oh, well then, yeah, you can take your shirt off. You just got to put.
I guess I just got to have on those. What are those called?
On your nipples. Nipple tassels.
Ryan says, Derek, I'm not sure if the guy on the right is real. Can you get him to show the peace sign and stick out his tongue? Oh, shit. Busted. Oh, wait. Never mind. He's real. Okage says, what's good? Yo, what's going on, Okage? Good to see you, man. How you doing?
How you doing?
Oh, man.
Okage.
Screenshot it. Thank you.
Perfect.
I want to see a meme in the Discord.
Who is it? Is it
Ryan?
Barb? Who is it that does the emotes for you?
Yeah, Barb.
Barb, yeah, send it to Barb. Drop it into Barb on Discord so that way she can do an emote for me so I can add it to YouTube channel.
By the way, I got all my stuff set up because of you guys hounding me about the join on YouTube. The only thing is apparently, well, it's not there yet. Apparently, you have to make a video announcing that you're doing memberships on your site. So I have to record that and upload it, and then once I do that, I can actually send it live. But I got all the tiers set up and all that.
Yes, I'm the exact same way as you, my friend. I literally did every single step except that video, and that was my last step before I set mine up. And so so I was there before you said that you had yours set up. So then I went and checked out your stuff, and I was like, it's not there. The link isn't there. But never mind. Yeah, I didn't realize. Yeah, so you're on the exact same step that I am. Then is that you have to make this stupid video. And the weird part is where does that video go?
It goes live on your channel.
Yeah, but I know other people who have memberships, and I don't see that video anywhere. So does
maybe after it gets approved, they unlist it or something? But it has to go public for you to do it. Like it starts off unlisted. You upload it as an unlisted, and mark it, and then but when you like hit go, like you know, so that your join things go live, the video automatically changes from unlisted to public. I don't know if then after that you can just change it back to unlisted or what, but.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah, I'm curious to see. I'm definitely curious to test it out and see it because yeah, I have no clue how exactly it works, but I just know that I did not see that video anywhere on other people's channels unless if they've been unless they've had membership activated for so long. Do you know what I mean? That it was like pages and pages down. That from all their videos they do daily uploads, but I didn't see anything from like the past 2 months of videos. So I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe
you can delete it. Maybe you can delete it afterwards. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, to be honest. I mean, I don't really care. I mean, I don't care that it lives there. I just figured I'd do kind of an update like video about it. Like, hey guys, just basically say just like YouTube requires me
membership so you can just donate more of your hard-earned money to me, baby.
Alex in the chat. Yo, what's going on, Alex? He says, yep, kind of trying to wash it with alcohol. Spider says, hey, Derek, when you get on Pax's stream, I was trying to get 2,000 channel points so I could do IRL word ban. I was going to have it say the name Derek so you could not say your name. That's funny. Kage says, also, the tongue is supposed to be pointing down, and there's generally only one peace sign.
He's going to be green, so he might...
Whoa. Yeah, he is. He's got half his body, his lines are in viz.
His body is showing through. Hey, Mr. Mans.
What the hell kind of alien child is that?
I love you. Can you say bye to stream? Can you say good night? So you're going to go night-nights, huh? You say night-nights?
All right, let's get alls in the chat for Codations, baby.
Alls in the chat.
Alls in the chat. The baby skeleton. That is what it kind of looks like, a skeleton, I think.
Dude, it does, dude.
Oh, it does.
It goes straight through. That's too funny.
Spider says ugly. All right, ban him, Ryan. Ban him. Time him out. Give him a 5-minute timeout for that comment.
I love you. Bye, buddy.
All right, give him a 60-second timeout.
I love you.
He deserves it.
Oh, alrighty, I'm back. Sorry about that interruption.
No, you're fine.
It's probably not staying up tonight.
Yo, I will say though, let me because we were talking about that thing, so let me say this, and then we'll probably jump into the podcast, guys. I'll do a little intro and we'll roll. I know we got Codation's got a couple topics for us tonight, so I think it'll be fun. But let me say, my YouTube, because we were talking about it, my YouTube membership, for those that may possibly be interested, I don't ever care if people do it or not. I mean, I love when people do it, obviously, because it helps support my content, and I work my ass off doing this. But yeah, I'm just saying, I don't care though. But I mean, I work my fucking ass off for this content for you guys. I do shit all, but it's cool. I mean, you guys do. No, I'm just kidding.
I didn't think
but for reals,
at all.
You're right. I don't, dude. But for reals, just so everybody knows, the way I'm setting up my shit is I also have Patreon. It's currently under review, but I have all my tiers and stuff set on there. So I will have basically 3 different types of memberships that people can do. You could become a Twitch sub, a YouTube member, we'll call it a sub, YouTube sub, or a Patreon member. The Twitch and the YouTube don't give you guys shit. I'm just letting you guys know right up front. It gives you guys emotes in the chat. That's it. The Patreon is where there'll be a bunch of additional, like Discord. You'll get special access to a Discord channel that no one else has access to. You'll get there'll be a once a month live stream that's specifically for Patreon supporters. And the reason for that is it's not any more money. There is different tiers, but like you can get a $5 tier there versus YouTube or Twitch. But the difference with Patreon is if somebody subs me on Twitch gets 50% of that. So I get $2.50. Patreon, they take 10%. That's it. Total. That's the payment processing fee and everything. So I get way more of the actual money to go to the business. So that's where my focus is going to be if anybody's actually interested in perks. So just FYI. Don't expect my YouTube memberships to have any special perks. Don't expect my Twitch to ever have any special perks. It'll all be over on Patreon. First, if you're interested in special perks. If you just want emotes, both the YouTube and the Twitch give you that.
Makes sense. No worries, my friend.
Hokage says, I don't know about all that. Well, again, you don't got to sign up for any of them. I'm just letting people know that are interested, Hokage.
Yeah, you do.
That the Patreon's the best way to do it.
Choice. You don't have a choice, Hokage. You're here on this stream. You get all this content for free. You can't give back anything. I'm just kidding. I love you. It's all free.
So yeah, but anyways, just want to point that out so that people don't think like YouTube memberships are going to come out and there's going to be all kinds of cool. Because I know some people do like crazy stuff to their stuff or whatever. Yeah. All right. Anyways, let me do a little intro here, and then we'll jump into the podcast, I think. Guys, continue to feel free to talk and stuff. It's just going to be going more towards, like, topics or whatever. Also, excuse me, but I'm not feeling the best tonight, just before we jump into it. That way everybody kind of knows. So if I seem a little whatever.
If you automatically just get up and run off the screen and then the stream gets disconnected, we'll know why.
Well, even like I have the shivers right now, and it's like making me like I'm trying to talk, and I'm like trying to not shiver while I'm talking. So just saying that if it seems a little whatever,
aches, dude, the shivers and the aches are the worst, bro.
I don't have any aches, just like I feel super cold, and I just kind of feel blah. All right. Anyways,
got the winter blues, man.
Probably what it is, dude. That's why I tan in the winter. Try to get a little bit of that sun. Seriously, it helps me. I feel like it helps me tremendously with seasonal depression, dude. All right. Anyways, I think so. But I mean, vitamin D, you get vitamin D from tanning. You get vitamin D.
Hey, are you going to pop off this intro at all?
You know what, dude? I was going to, but I'm not now. Now I'm just going to sit here. And look, now I'm going to sit here and look at my Fitbit. I've burned 2,657 calories today. Okay.
There we go.
Hey guys, welcome to yet another podcast. I'm joined once again by my good friend Codations, the myth, the man, the red-bearded legend, represent. You know, no one in the podcast sees video, right?
That's true. Yeah, that's very true. Yep.
We're back. Another podcast. Thank you guys for joining once again. We got a couple interesting topics courtesy of Codations tonight. So I'm excited to kind of jump in. But before we do jump into the topics, I got to ask, Cardassians, how are things going? I always had to ask about the YouTube channels and stuff, just in general, how content creation is. I like hearing how you're growing. I like hearing, what's happening in your side of things. So if other people don't like that when I ask, I always start it off because I'm always interested in hearing. So I gotta know, how's your shit going, man?
Everything is going good, man. I mean, to be honest with you, currently right now, my content is, what's the word I want to put on it? It's more or less like I'm putting out, so like the past couple of days I've been putting out daily videos like I normally do, but the daily videos have been less driven and focused on a particular reason and more of a placeholder, to be honest with you. Because currently right now the two mobile games that I'm playing are kind of hitting that lull point, you know what I mean, where like, the hype is pretty much dead and gone, you know what I mean, and we're kind of, there's not really a whole lot of new stuff going on into the game, nothing really to cover, you know what I mean, so it's just kind of like I'm waiting for that next, like that next game, to pop out, and I've got a couple games coming out, in March, so that'll, hopefully regenerate, get everything going back up again, full swing. And I got a game coming out tomorrow, so I'm going to definitely jump into that, play that. I should have a video or two coming out on that, depending on how good it is or how crappy it is. Yeah, I mean, currently right now, everything is going good. I mean, what's wild is even though my content hasn't been, like super popping off the past couple of days, it's still my subscriber count is still going up every single day, pretty damn good. I've got my Discord now, I think is pushing 500 members, which is ridiculously cool. So that's been growing really, really nice. Yeah, man, I mean, everything's been going good with the channel, dude. I mean, yeah, 460 members. So like 40 members away from 500, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, like I said, everything's going pretty good.
Is it,
real? Go ahead.
Is it pretty active? Like, are people actually in there chatting all the time and stuff?
All
and
day,
nice.
Day long. Yep, all day long. Yeah, and like I said, and currently right now, I do have I've got three games in there currently. I've got Genshin Impact, I've got Skylanders Ring of Heroes that we've been playing for the longest time, and then I've got that new Cookie Run Kingdom game. Right now, the two Genshin's doing nothing. I mean, I'm not playing Genshin, you know what I mean? And I've only kept it because I had a handful of people in there, that were like from my content from Genshin. So I kept it because those players are still relatively active. And then, talking about different things, not in those channels though, unfortunately. Those channels are just dead channels. I should probably get rid of them. But Skylanders and Cookie Run, they're active all day long, 24/7. Alex is an officer in my Discord, the guy that's tuning in with us tonight as well. And he can tell you, man, I mean, it's ridiculous. Like they're constantly talking back and forth in the Discord, which is really, really nice. And then not only that, I don't know if I talked to you about on the last podcast, I thought I did, but I got 2 mods finally. So that's cool.
You did mention that you got some mods.
Yep. So the one mod is doing a phenomenal job. The other one's kind of, I don't know. I mean, he's another content creator, or used to be. He's not a big content creator anymore, but he used to be a content creator, kind of chilled and laid back guy, really good dude. But he's been kind of inactive for a while, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. But the one mod that I picked up, I didn't even know him. He was just a member of my Discord, from my channel, and he's been doing a fantastic job. He's been advertising the Discord and the game channel, the game channels. He's been picking up other players left and right, which is
nice
and really, really good. So yeah, man, everything is going good, dude. I decided to activate the members thing as well, just because I have like 4 or 5 people on my live stream.
Well, just let me interrupt you 1 second, just to interrupt, because we were talking about memberships before we actually started the podcast. So just for those that might be listening, we were talking about YouTube has memberships, which is kind of like Twitch has Twitch subscribers, which is where people can pay a monthly fee to support your content, and they normally get certain perks unlocked for doing that. There might be different tiers if you're unfamiliar with the YouTube memberships. So that's what he's talking about here as he goes into talking about activating his YouTube memberships.
Yep, exactly. So basically my last couple live streams, if you haven't, you probably already know, D, but I've been trying to get into live streams quite frequently. Like I'm trying to, work my way into doing more live streams. Right now, currently only on YouTube. I haven't set up Restream. I haven't stream to Twitch and vice versa, things like that. So I've been pretty much trying to push my YouTube live streams. I'm doing a live stream about once a week currently right now. It's working out pretty good. I find myself some nights wanting to do more live streams. Do you know what I mean? And then I find myself, some nights not wanting to do them. So, I mean, it really just depends. But right now I've been trying to do more. But I've had 4 or 5 people repeatedly ask me about memberships on YouTube, asking if I had some sort of subscription thing set up, that they'd like to participate. So because of that, that's why I made that decision to go ahead, and pick up on the someone tell him to hydrate. But you know what I mean? That's kind of why I try to pick up on the membership thing, just because, why not, so we'll see what happens. But
yeah, I will say, just with what you just said there, just a couple thoughts. I don't know that I would stream anywhere else besides YouTube if I was you personally. I think sticking to YouTube's your best choice right now, as you continue to grow. I don't really see there being any reason why if I was you, I don't know that I would restream or anything right now. I'm not saying it's not something to consider in the future, but I just don't think it's going to help you at all. And I don't know if streaming more is a great thing. I think streaming's fun a lot of times. It's fun interacting with people in the chat and stuff and playing a game or whatever, and not having to actually sit down and think of making a video. And I'm not saying you shouldn't stream. I think you should, but I just wouldn't stream to the point where then it starts taking away from your YouTube content, because your streams are never going to cause you to grow. That's just more of a community building thing, in my opinion. If you're still focusing on growth, which you probably should be, I think definitely still just producing more content's the route, and then the streaming just being secondary for now.
Right. Nope. I completely get it. And yeah, like I said, it's one of those things where they don't, I don't know, man. I'm kind of all over the place with it. I don't really know. I agree with you in the terms of, I'm not live streaming to grow my channel. I'm live streaming because I enjoy the active, engagement, as I'm doing something, like I'm playing in a specific game or, whatever. And quite frankly, the past couple, 2 or 3 live streams I've done, I've actually transitioned games during the live stream, which happened, in my opinion, I thought was very, very, positive, I guess, in a way. It depends on how you look at it. My live streams, I'm getting 30 to 50 people, in my live stream, which is great for a specific game. But then at the end of, I get finished with the one game, everything, that the live stream was originally for. You know what I mean? And then I just announce, I just give people the options. I'm like, look, if you guys, are okay with it or want to, I'm going to go ahead. Well, for instance, Valheim, I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and jump into some Valheim, which is a PC game, has nothing to do with this game as a mobile game, thank you guys for tuning in, for anybody that heads out or whatever, but, we're going to go ahead and swap over to that game. And it's actually been pretty good. For a while there, I had 20 people, from my stream from the mobile game still watching me play Valheim, which was kind of cool. So yeah. I don't know. Like I said, as far as overall, the channel, like I said, the channel is doing really well. Everything's doing really good as far as that aspect of things. My normal or my outside real life is doing really, really good. Besides all this blistering, ridiculous amount of snow that we got, it's been insane. Today we had 7 inches of snow, which wasn't even planned on the forecast. So that was kind of goofy. So we literally had 7 inches of snow. And I don't have a snow blower, so I'm hand shoveling all of that.
Ooh, that sucks. I bought a snowblower last year, and it was the best decision of my life.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. And that's, like I said, me and the wife talked about it. This will be my last year, with it like this, and then I'll get a snowblower. But anyways, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm all over the place. Like I said, the channel's doing good. Growth is doing good. Everything's popping off. Like I said, I'm pretty much just waiting for the next games to come out, and growing everything from there.
All right. Well, let me catch up on chat, and then I think we'll jump into the first topic, because you were talking about new games coming out. I think you said March. I'm assuming you're talking about because of BlizzCon and stuff. But let me catch up on chat, and then we can jump into, if you want, BlizzCon. Sure. I know that was something you wanted to talk about tonight. NDNW says, hey, guys, it's Carter News Live here. I changed my name. Do you remember me? Of course, man. Welcome. 4 Stacks says, hey, 4 Stacks. Ryan says, am I allowed to post a link? Yeah, you can post a link, dude. I can't promise I'm going to look, be able to look at it on the podcast or anything. Spider says, no. He says, hey, Derek, time to hydrate. Yo, thanks for that hydrate. Yo, Codations, any way you want to check that link for me and let me know what it is? If it's something we should show on stream or not.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. And with that said, look at it in the background. Well, I can't just play. I mean, the audio will still come through if I look at it first. So let me see what.
Oh God.
What is it? Oh God.
So I don't think you can play the audio. Maybe you can.
Let me click it and see here real quick.
I mean, I don't know if you can play it or not. I'm not really sure. I mean, I know you can play the video, but I don't know if you can play the song. I mean, the song is played a crap ton on TikTok, so I don't know if that means that you can play it elsewhere.
That doesn't mean, but yeah, I can't play
Okay.
it. Oh my God, he put, it's Codations doing the sign. That's funny. Yeah, I can't. It's basically a meme Ryan made of my co-host here, Codations. Funny. I can't play the audio on here, but but it is funny.
No.
Oh Lord.
Dude, that's
all right.
hilarious. That's too funny.
With that said, though, yeah, is that what you were talking about the new games coming out? Was with BlizzCon and with the Diablo game and stuff, or are you talking about other games?
No. I'm talking
Okay.
about other games. I mean, because yeah, unfortunately, I mean, jumping right into BlizzCon, I mean, it was kind of a letdown, to be honest with you, man. I mean, my biggest ticket for BlizzCon was the new Diablo Immortal on mobile, because
Right.
that was going to, I can't wait for that to come out as a long-term Diablo fan. And not only that, my channel being centered all around mobile games. If you don't know and you're listening to this podcast and you're this far in, you probably already know. But nevertheless, my YouTube channel is centered all around mobile games, and so that's gonna be the reason why, like, Diablo, Immortal being a full mobile game it's right up my alley. I mean, and not only that, what's really, really cool is I'm excited to bring that style of game to my channel, right? Because just as well as everybody else does, like, I built my channel on idle games. You know what I mean? Like, clicker,
Yep.
simple clicker idle games. And then I've kind of introduced Genshin Impact. I've introduced a couple of these other games, and then now I'm trying to transition, into something like Diablo. And when that comes, the beauty of it is, is that I don't know. It's just going to be really big, I think, for my channel. And I really think that a game like a AAA title like that, behind Blizzard will have a big audience, even though there's a lot of people who don't like the fact that it's a mobile game. I think there's going to still be a huge, title, like a huge audience.
Absolutely, just because it's Diablo. I mean, just because.
Correct. Exactly. And that's what I'm really hoping. Again, I got to be aggressive with it, but I'm really, really hoping that that's going to, skyrocket, my channel, as far as, being able to introduce me to a massive amount of, audience of people. So again, it is what it is. They basically, and why don't get me wrong, BlizzCon is always nice, right? I mean, you find out some information, but the really shitty part to me, in my opinion, for this BlizzCon was there was like 0 release dates. There was, like hardly any new information. They basically were saying, this, okay, yeah, we're working on Diablo Immortal for the 500th time. Here's some of the same old gameplay you've already seen, a bazillion times. Yeah, you're going to get a new map. Yeah, you're going to get these classes. And it's like, we already know, like 90% of all this information. You know what I mean? And then they basically, the only new thing they told us was, 1, they don't have a release date for us, right now at this moment. And 2, they're like, oh, we're going to do another alpha test. We're going to do another alpha/beta test that, instead of it being as small, close knit as it was, with a handful of people, we're going to open it up to a lot more people. You know what I mean? We're going to be able to give you access to like in-game content during the test, things like that, which is great. That's great news. But it's still just, for me, I got my hopes up, man. Like I said, I was really, really pulling for, the fact that we would get like a spring release or something, like a 3-month, at least a 3-month away release. But nah, we didn't get anything.
Or just any kind of release date.
Yeah. Well, yeah, even if we got a release date, it would have been sweet. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what, it would have been really, really cool. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But I mean, that's pretty much for me.
No, I have to say, I didn't completely watch all of it. It was during the day. I wasn't able to. I had some other stuff going on, but I did tune in here or there. And I noticed, so are they doing a remake of Diablo 2, or is that a new Diablo? Okay. So, and I saw that, but I thought even that was when I was tuned in, but I kind of came into the halfway of it, but it just looked very, Even that seemed very I don't know the word to use, but let down to me.
Lackluster.
Yeah, lackluster. That would be the word. And it didn't
Yep.
seem like very many people in the chat and stuff. I was watching on Twitch. Didn't seem very many people even in the Twitch chat was very excited for it.
Yeah, and that's it's not new. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think
Right.
that's the biggest thing. I mean, is like, every year at BlizzCon, you know what I mean? Like, at least if we go back like 5 years, right? 5 years, maybe 6 years ago, you know what I mean? BlizzCon was the big event. I mean, that was like where people want to see, new stuff, new games, games that they're working on. You mean, all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, to me, I watched both days and it just seemed, I don't know, it just seemed lackluster in the sense of, like you said, boom, they're pulling out a Diablo 2, remastered edition, which remastered, all they're really doing is going back and revamping, like the graphic engine,
Well, they are adding,
on
because wasn't they, like, for example, and again, maybe I'm mixing this up with the mobile game, but I
Yep.
saw that they had you'll have to tell me. I saw they had where the characters were, now they were adding the different elements to the same spells. Is that with the mobile version or was that with the remaster? So like you could, like, let's say you have the arrows that shoot, you could apply acid to them or frost, so it could change up your kit. Is that with the Immortal mobile game or was that with the
No, that's with
remaster?
the two remastered. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
they're definitely making changes to the remastered edition. They're basically taking, what they're doing is they're basically taking the information, that they learned from years ago. From Diablo 2, you know what I mean? And then, they're basically, taking all the information that players have gave them over the years, do you know what I mean? Or people that suggested, or, things that whatever brought it to the table, and we're like, okay,
Here, hold on. Let me say what you're saying, but it seems to me like they're taking a lot of stuff from Path of Exile. I'm just gonna say it without. Oh wait, I did say it though.
Yep.
It seemed to me more like they just took a lot of stuff from Path of Exile. But
Yep.
Alex in the chat says alpha of Diablo means they are far from release. It would have been irresponsible to set a date. I'm not I wouldn't disagree with that, Alex. I think what Codation's saying, and kind of my sentiment with it too, is I have watched most previous year BlizzCons. Like I said, I just wasn't able to tune in for the whole thing this time. But BlizzCon has always kind of been their thing to, like, it's kind of like when Apple releases an iPhone. It's like their big event where they give like release dates or they give like something new to look forward to. And it just felt like a lot of it was rehashed to me again. And even like I said, the new features, to me, it was like, they're like throwing out all this stuff like, oh, we're adding this in, and I'm thinking like, well, that's all in Path of Exile. Like, it sounds like you guys are just taking stuff from Path of Exile. You're not really innovating or adding anything new. I don't know. I guess my question to chat, while then Codation goes into what he's about to say, while he's saying that is was there things that you guys saw in it specifically that got you guys excited? Like, what got you excited about BlizzCon if you ended up watching it? Go ahead, Codation.
And that word that you use is actually very, very good. Like that's what I would say. Like they're, like you said, the innovative, that to me, that's the key right there. Nothing, in my opinion, at BlizzCon was innovative. Nothing. I mean, like, even like, sure, they announced Diablo 4, right? Like, sure, they talked a little bit about Diablo 4. People found out a little bit more information about Diablo 4, but they specifically said on stage, we can't show you, you know what I mean, a whole lot of Diablo 4. We don't know when the release date's going to be. It's more than likely going to be, at least 2022, if not, 2025, you know what I mean, at this point, you know what I mean? And it's like, they're stating all this stuff, and it was just like, I don't know, like you said, it was just very, very lackluster in terms of what BlizzCon used to be, in my opinion. It's just my personal opinion, but that's the way that I feel. Like, they didn't have a release date for Immortal, Diablo Immortal. They didn't have a release date for, Diablo 4. And then like I said, and then the whole thing with the remastered thing with Diablo 2. I personally don't really care for remastered versions of games. Like I get the fact that the nostalgia, right, comes back, right? Like, people will buy the game just because they're a long-term fan of the game. You know what I mean? They'll probably dive in and maybe test it out and play it for a week, you know what I mean? But then, in my opinion, it's the same thing, right? So like for, ideally, now I know they're adding a few things and changing a few things up, but I don't think it's going to make that game, you know what I mean? Like the next big AAA game. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
it's a rehashed version of an old game. And I don't know why so many companies are going back and doing that. In my opinion, I think it's two things. I think it's they want to regain more money from from the same game they already have made, right? So they're double dipping in money from players. Secondly, the other thing I always feel about it is just a cheap way out. Right? It's a cheap way out. It's like, oh, look, we don't have a whole lot of content for you or new stuff to come out, but guess what? Hey, you ain't played Diablo 2 in a long time, so we're going to go ahead and bring Diablo 2 back. We're just going to pull it off the shelf, dust it off a little bit, maybe add some quality of life features, and then they're like, boom, here you go, $35 or whatever the hell they sell it for, and I'm just kind of like, ugh.
Right. Spider in the chat says, hey, Derek, did you see that they're making a new Mortal Kombat movie? Little off topic. No, I don't mind, but yeah, I will answer it just because I want to say that, yes, I have, and I'm actually super excited for it. I can't remember the director's name, but I'm a big fan of his, and I have seen some of the cinematography shots coming from some of the grabs from the cinematography, and it looks fantastic. I'm super pumped, super excited for it. I cannot wait. That I have very high hopes for personally. Alex D says their big announce was D4. Yeah, again, like I said, I just think it was kind of like you said. Yeah, I agree, that was kind of lackluster. He said lackluster for sure, but what can they invent? Alex in the chat says lackluster for sure, but what can they invent to show us? They don't have that much product to show. Yeah, and I mean, that might be true, and it might not be anything bad per se on their end. You're right. Maybe they just don't have a lot, but that's even the stuff, like, even if they don't have a lot of stuff to show, it would have been cool to see, like, maybe one or two things that were gonna, even if they didn't have gameplay to show, it would have been cool to say, like, here's some of the ideas we have for D4 that's different than just any other thing we've done or whatever. Again, I don't know. Maybe I just like change too much. Maybe I like different too much. Maybe most people that play Diablo, they just like the game to kind of be how the game is. But I don't know. I was just expecting a little more. I mean, even with like World of Warcraft and stuff, there just wasn't nothing, at least that stood out to me, that seemed any kind of, I mean, again, I didn't watch whole things, so maybe I missed something. But even like some of their other games, they're just, I mean, I don't know. And I'm not knocking on Blizzard. I mean, they could come out with all this stuff. It could all be great. There could be a bunch of new stuff in it. I just felt overall I was expecting more from BlizzCon, just based off of previous BlizzCons. I just didn't think they did as good of a job. But,
yeah. And that's and really fast, I just want to go back to the same thing that Spider had asked in the chat. But yeah, dude, the Mortal Kombat, man, dude, oh my gosh, dude. The movie looks ridiculously good, man. Like I'm so pumped, like I'm excited. I shared it the moment it hit YouTube and I saw the trailer. Somebody in my Discord, messaged me and was like, dude, did you see the new Mortal Kombat, trailer for the movie? And I'm like, no. So I clicked on it, watched it, and then I instantly dropped the video and shared the video in my Discord, like in my general chat. I'm like, bro, check this shit out, because it looks legit. So yeah, man, I was pumped, dude. I was excited. So again, Spider, but yeah, man. I'm excited for it for sure. It looks good. I don't know anything about the director, but yeah. And then I really like how they played the Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I mean, there during the trailer, or at least the trailer that I watched, was really, really cool, because you got both of them. You know what I mean? You got the Sub-Zero, line, and then you've got the "Get Over Here" by Scorpion, which was really cool. So,
and where the icicles came out with by the one guy's eye. Did you see that? Dude, that looks so. That's what I'm talking about. That the guy that's doing the cinematography and directing, dude, it's sick, man. It's sick.
Oh yeah, it looks good, dude. It looks very, very good. And I've always had a sweet spot just from, playing the games on Sega,
Oh, exactly.
Like, forever ago, So I mean, I've always had a sweet spot for Mortal Kombat. But anyways, switching gears back over to BlizzCon. Yeah, man, again, Alex, like, and everybody else in the chat, like, I'm not shitting on Blizzard, man. I literally own almost every game that Blizzard has ever made. You know what I mean? Because I enjoy playing them, from World of Warcraft to Diablo to Overwatch, to Hero Storm. I literally have played almost every game. I even have Warcraft, Warcraft 1 all the way to 3. I literally have every game from Blizzard besides like their old like arcade shit. But basically, I'm not shitting on them. I really like them. That's why I tuned into BlizzCon. Obviously, I'm excited for Diablo Immortal once we finally get more information on Diablo Immortal. But I was just really hoping that there was something that we didn't know about. And I don't think that was the case. Do you know what I mean? Like at all, like across the board, even World of Warcraft, World of Warcraft Classic, right? I've got a lot of friends right now that are still playing World of Warcraft Classic, right? I mean, we've known, like the community's known that Burning Crusade was coming out for months now, right? They never told us, they never said anything, but like, the community already knew it, you know what I mean? So when them announcing BC, nobody cared. You know what I mean? Like, sure, I mean, everybody was like, oh yeah, we finally got a confirmation stamp, on our paper, but it wasn't anything new. Everybody was like, they have no other direction with WoW Classic, to go. So they're gonna release, Burning Crusade. So that was a given. Shadowlands, additional DLC for Shadowlands. Again, nothing too spectacular. I've watched Asmongold on, on YouTube. What, 3 or 4 days ago, he dropped his prediction of BlizzCon, everything word for word in events, sequel to sequel. I mean, it was literally identical. So you could have just watched his stream 3 days ago, do you know what I mean? And then watch BlizzCon technically. So again, I don't know, man. I'm kind of in the air with it. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not upset at Blizzard. I'm excited for the new stuff. Diablo 4, obviously, all they did was put a confirmation stamp on it. They did tell us this last year's BlizzCon when they announced, the Diablo, Immortal mobile game as their high, as their frontliner, for their show. But they already announced Diablo 4, then said, yeah, we're going to be working on a Diablo 4. Yeah. So, I mean, again, I don't know. I don't know what else you want to say else about BlizzCon, but that's kind of where I'm at with it. I mean, it is what it is.
No, yeah. Last thing, I mean, Alex says in the chat, I feel COVID slowed everyone down in terms of game devs. And yeah, that's probably a lot of it. I mean, that has, and it is definitely, a lot of people working from home, a lot of people, it's definitely slowed down, most companies. Again, I'm not knocking BlizzCon. I'm just saying I expected a bit more than what we were given. That's all. That's all. Right. I just said it wasn't. I felt like they could have just. I don't know. I just felt like they could have just made a blog post, like it wasn't like what I would classify as a BlizzCon to me. Like is
either that, or in my opinion, they could have taken what they had and hyped it way more than it was. Do you know what I mean? And I didn't get that feeling at all. I mean, like even like the tone of everything. Did you hear like the music and like the 15-20 minute sappy ass story in the beginning? You know what I mean? Like
I didn't see that.
Like, nobody cares. I'm like, nobody cares. We just want BlizzCon. We want you to start off, flames on the stage, blowing the shit up. You know what I mean? This is what we got working on. We know COVID's got everybody down, but that hasn't stopped us here at BlizzCon. You know what I mean? Like shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, but that didn't exist. I mean, the whole entire thing, in my opinion, was like super mellow. You know what I mean? The hottest part, in my opinion, for the entire event, which is crazy for it to be BlizzCon, was the stupid cinematics. Like the cinematics got me more hype for those games than what the person standing on stage is talking about. They're talking like this in a mellow tone, and they're like, we've all been there. We've been talking about COVID and we're all sad and we're fucking blue. You know what I mean? It's just like, get off of the damn stage. Like, you know what I mean? Like just blow the event up. It's a freaking event.
Yeah. And again, I do understand it. As Alex said, like I get that 100%. But I will say too that, I've seen some companies, for example, I'm not a huge Apple fanboy. Codations knows this. He can back this. So like when I'm saying this, like this is not me like but like Apple has done fantastic with their virtual, releases and things. I mean, they've done fantastic jobs just in the quality of their events and stuff since COVID has hit and stuff. And there's been other companies as well. There ain't none coming to mind outside of Apple. But I've seen other companies that have just done a fantastic job with it. And especially I feel like a company like Blizzard, where their whole thing is like digital space anyways. Right. They should have been able to make a little bit more hype of a event. Right. So I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else to say on BlizzCon personally, other than I just thought the hype wasn't there. Not that they're not producing cool shit. Not that they're not that we aren't going to love the stuff they're coming out with. It just was missing the hype that's typical of BlizzCon.
Right. No, like I said, I think they ran too deep with the COVID stuff. I mean, I think that's for me, that was one of the biggest things. I'll let you catch them on chat. It looks like we've got quite a bit. So
yeah, we got a question, a little bit off topic, but I don't again mind. I think we're kind of wrapping up with BlizzCon anyway, so maybe we'll hit it before we jump into our next topic. NDNW in the chat says, so question. He says, do you guys think everyone in political buildings, excuse me, I had to burp again. Sorry, one more. Should just kind of shut up and work together and put more effort into the people, because I do and I'm open to debate. Hokage says, well, what do you think of the statement, it's a politician's job to lie? NDNW says, it's partially true, but you have to have experience running in an election. I have, and in Congress I have as well, but it's partially true. I mean, I think everybody thinks that everybody should just work together. But I will say, you know, I'm actually a very I'm a centrist. I like things from both sides of the aisle, and I get a lot of things from both sides of the aisle. And I guess what I will say, you know, and outside of this, I really don't have much to add. But what I will say is, I think people forget how complicated a lot of these issues are. On a lot of the issues that politicians are fighting about, it's almost split 50-50 in the general population. So when we say, you know, when someone says, oh, I think they should all just shut up and work together and figure shit out, everybody says that until it then becomes an issue that they don't agree with, and then they're wishing that their side would fight more for their beliefs. I think the problem more, in my opinion, with politics nowadays is the fact that it's social media, is the fact that it's all out in the open. And that there is no, I don't want to say secrecy, but there's no closed doors anymore. Because I actually think the fight-in has to happen. But I don't think it should happen in the public's eye like it's been happening. If that makes sense. Because again, the whole point of politicians is to argue on the behalf of their constituents for what their constituents voted them in for. Codations, that's right by your mic, super loud, my dude.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. Just move it down or something is all. But I just figured you didn't realize it because you probably can't hear your own mic coming through. So yeah, I don't know. That would kind of be my thought towards it. I don't know. Again, that's really all I have to say about it. I get it. I think we all wish we lived in a fairy tale land. And I'm not saying this is what you were saying, and so don't take offense to what I'm saying. But I do think all of us, and I say this, you and NDNW, myself, Codations, we all wish we lived in this fairy tale land where everybody just got together and everybody would just work on the problems together and figure out the best solution and get there. But I think, you know, if you're married, you know that not everything comes to a peaceful resolution. And I don't mean that you're always fighting with your wife or your spouse or your husband, but not everything is cut and dry. Sometimes the fights have to happen. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not saying like screaming and yelling at your significant other, but in a marriage, I think it helps you realize that sometimes fights have to happen. Like sometimes you got to hash shit out. Again, I think the bigger issue is that it's in the public eye much more today. I mean, it used to be on C-SPAN and no one watched that shit. Now it's on Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. So I don't know. Codations, any thoughts on that?
To be honest with you, man, I'm up in the air when it comes to politics a lot of the times. I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. I mean, I think everybody in general, like you said, we do want to live in this, utopian, society where, everybody gets along, we're more focused on, just moving forward. You mean, and not so much focused on, this person being right or this person being wrong and this, and then them arguing over something like this. I don't know, man. I'm kind of in the air. And what I mean by that is like, I'm kind of like you, man. I have opinions and I agree with certain things on either side. When it comes to political party, you know what I mean? And the problem is that kind of puts me into a, unique, spot when it comes to, well, what party do you affiliate with? What party do you this? How do you vote? Things like that. It puts me in a unique position, and a lot of times I can't win. Does that make sense? I can't win in terms of finding the right candidate that believes the exact same, beliefs that I do, across the board. So I don't really have much to say on that. I mean, to be honest with you, I personally think, I'm all for the people, no matter what. That's kind of like the best way that I can explain it. Anything, that helps, with, keeping the economy afloat, and keeping us, rolling, in a positive direction, no matter what. I think that's pretty much where I reside. But I mean, again, do I think that politicians should lie? Do I think that they should stop bickering and everything else? I would second the thing that you said with how hard those decisions actually are. I think a lot of people don't really understand the full scale of things. Especially as civilians. I mean, if you've had zero experience with anything political, I think it's very easy for us to be like, oh, I'm going to go to the store, and buy something, right? Like that's my decision. I'm going to go to the store and pick that up. I'm not, I don't have to worry about arguing with my wife or whatever. It's my money. This is what I do. Versus it being on a much larger scale, making these decisions, where it impacts millions of lives, do you know what I mean? Or billions of lives, so I don't know. I don't really have an answer for it, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm all over the place when it comes to politics, and you already know this too, D. The problem is I'm so much I don't even know how to even explain it, man. Like I'm so far out there in terms of not watching the news all the time, not listening to everything, not reading a whole lot of stuff. I mean, like I'm pretty much like I'm unplugged, man. Like, I mean, that's the best way to explain it. Like I'm unplugged on a lot of things. So I'm not very diverse in the sense of, or not diverse. I'm not very versed, in the whole, political scheme of things. I'm not, the best person to really be, oh yeah, I think this guy is dumb. I think this should be done differently. It's just not me. I'm pretty much, I just stay out of it until, something happens or until, somebody or something close to me is like, oh, hey, you should be paying attention to this. And I'm like, oh, I should. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And to echo that, I'm actually very like, I talk politics and stuff when people ask on streams and stuff, and even in the podcast like we are now. But to echo Codations, I'm actually very unplugged as well. I don't watch any news. I don't keep up with politics. I don't know what the big issues are most of the time. To be completely honest at all, I don't. But the reason I can give answers, and the reason I do give answers, is because I do still feel that as a member of the United States, as that we do have duties to share our opinions and thoughts with others. Otherwise, then you really can't get mad if people vote different than what you think or stuff. But most of mine don't really, like even what I just said, it doesn't really fall towards a party line or towards a topic. I more try to lean under the guide that of just empathy. Like even with politicians, like I think most politicians, both Republican, Democrat, Independent, and Libertarian, I think most people are good people. That's just my personal belief. I think most people want to do good. So I tend to just have the attitude that I probably don't understand something that's happening on the deeper scale. I probably don't get, I mean, even a lot of the, and we've all heard this, like, a lot of the bills and stuff get passed. Both sides do this. So I'm not calling out one side or the other. They'll tax so much other crap in those bills that a lot of times it's not even the main issue that people are fighting about. It's all the side stuff in there that people are trying to sneak into bills and stuff. And again, it's in me, it's kind of like a marriage. Like you give and take and you make compromises. And that's what a lot of these bills and stuff are, but only it's compromises dealing with hundreds of issues besides just the main one, because everyone's trying to get their input in on a bill or get their thing taken care of that they're passionate about. But again, at the end of the day, I just try to remember that, at least for me, I believe, this is just my beliefs, that most people are good. Most people are trying to do what's best for their kids, their families, the future of their country. I don't think most people are in politics trying to ruin everybody's lives. Like it just doesn't make sense to me to think that way. It just doesn't seem true that would be true to me. So I just err on the side of, instead of bickering or fighting myself, or instead of allowing myself, like you're saying, politicians arguing with each other and stuff, instead of allowing myself to join that narrative and then get mad at one side or the other, or even all politicians because all they do is fight and bicker, I just always try to think, well, what if it was me in their shoes? Which sounds simple, but I mean, to really stop and think about that, like to really think like, well, what if I was the politician, and what if I had these beliefs that I was fighting for, and these people that voted me in that relied on me, and again, so then it just kind of helps me start to, again, just have a little bit of empathy. Again, so a lot of times my politics stuff is not based on any topics or issues. It's more just I don't want to see more division caused by the division that's already in politics, if that makes sense. I don't know if I explained
Yeah,
that good
no,
or not.
yeah. Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, you made some really valid points. I mean, the thing with me with politics is just like similar to what you're saying. I mean, it's I think, like you said, I think everybody's intention at the end of the day is ultimately based on something good, right? Like, I don't think anybody's sitting in a position of power or of, or like you said, are proposing a bill. I don't think they're sitting in a position because they want to harm people, right? Or they want to fuck over, John, or, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's what it is. Like you said, I think they've got these, everybody has these propositions, these bills, these ideas, these things, you know what I mean? And then they are purposely, like you said, trying to pass them, trying to push them through, whether you are, the main, main bill or the main thing being voted on, you know what I mean? Or like you said, you're a bunch of these smaller, tiny little sub things, that are also thrown into, the mix, trying to be, trying to get passed as well. I mean, the truth is, it's no secret, right? Like every bill or every big topic that gets passed that the general news and everybody else, focuses on, you know what I mean, advertising about, we already know there's a string or a list of additional smaller things, attacked into there, you know what I mean? So again, it's always a give or take system, you know what I mean? Like you said, exactly, it's like a marriage, you know what I mean? There's going to be sacrifices made by some, you know what I mean? There's going to be gains made by some, you know what I mean? And then, it's always a game. So the difference is, normally in most marriages, not every marriage, but in most marriage, it's two people. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a lot easier, to hash something out, for the most part, you know what I mean? But, imagine scaling that, times, I don't even know how many people are in there now, but, a whole House of Representatives, then a whole Senate. I mean, then you've got, multiple people in power above those, to also, that hold more, more weight, it's near impossible. I mean, the chances of you getting everybody to agree on one specific thing at all times is just, insane, So again, me personally, and I mean, and again, kind of like what Hokage says, I don't really see it all as a matter of malice as much as a matter of greed. Now, again, I don't want to get into a huge debate or argument about it, but it really depends on who you ask. If you would have asked me, I'm going to say 5 years ago, right? If you would have asked me 5 years ago, freshman year, or not freshman year, that would have been a senior year, but whatever, I was in college, and you would have asked me then, I would have instantly told you right away. I would have said, I don't vote. I don't care about the politics. I don't care whatsoever. And my hardcore reasoning is because I believed it did not matter. And what I mean by that is I just thought the government's full of greed. They're going to do whatever the hell they want to do. They don't care about the people. Do you know what I mean? The rich are going to keep on getting rich. The poor are just going to continue being poor. You know what I mean? And then the poor are eventually going to get free stuff depending on who gets into the thing. It's just like, the middle class person, which is where I was, I just felt like, we're just being fucked. We're going to continue being, being screwed over to, forever. And it doesn't really matter what happens. Right. Like that was my mindset. It wasn't until later on in life, married and kid, for me to really think about, and have several conversations with elderly people and older generation and talk to them and just really try to figure out, why should a person be doing this? Why should I be worried about politics? Why should I be looking to vote? And again, once I really dove deep into it, you know what I mean? And I realized like, okay, so the only way that I personally can try to make something change for something that I believe in is to vote. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, whether or not, my vote's really going to make a difference. Do you know what I mean? That's not necessarily, the ploy, the whole thing is I'm standing up for something that I believe in. So that's where my vote comes into play. I mean, versus it being more, my vote, changes the, is the, the decision altering vote, again, probably not, or I'm not saying it's not, but you know what I'm saying? It's just,
Yeah.
again, I don't know. I try to look at it more on that angle than I did back in the day. I know people, still look at it as the angle that I did 5 years ago, but again, I'm making strides, you know what I mean? And as I learn more, as I'm married, as I, make more money, as I'm doing YouTube, as I'm doing these other things, I'm starting to, really dive in and, and especially when my son starts getting into school, I haven't partaken in anything with city, you know what I mean, city stuff, you know what I mean, and as he starts getting into school, I mean, I hear about other employees, at my work, that's got 3 kids, you know what I mean, and they're, middle school, high school, and elementary, you know what I mean, and they're like, I mean, they're voting on stuff all the time for the school, like, stuff in the school districts, different times, different things, and all I'm thinking about is like, wait, you concern yourself with this shit? You know what I'm saying? But again, I mean, it makes sense because it affects them. You know what I mean? It directly affects them. So they're bringing that up. They're involved in it. They're voting on it, and that's a new chapter for me. You know what I mean? When my son's goes to daycare right now. She just asked my wife the other day. We went and picked him up after work, and she asked him. She had 3 moms, you know what I mean, come to her and complain. 2 of them took her kid, out of that daycare and brought him somewhere else, and she was basically asked my wife. She's like, do you think that I close too much? I mean, or do you think that I do this too much? You know what I mean? And the truth of the matter is, she has closed, quite a bit of times, you know what I mean? Like during this entire year, right? That we've had our child there. It's our first child. We don't know, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? But it's stuff like that now I'm like, oh shit, I guess that does actually make sense. You know what I mean? Like maybe I should, maybe we should actually pay attention to some of this stuff that could be directly affecting us without us directly knowing it's affecting us. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah.
It
makes sense. Yeah. And just to kind of echo on, I'm not going to dive into really all the local stuff and all that, but just kind of taking one step back to Hokage. Hokage, like you said, I mean, you view it all as a matter of greed. See, that's where I think I differ a bit from most people is I think most people do have that type of ideology towards our politics and stuff. I actually very much disagree with that. I think that it's always the same in everything. It's a couple bad apples. Like, are there greedy politicians? Absolutely. But what percentage? Do you really believe 80% of our politicians are greedy? Do you really think it's, I mean, and maybe you do. I'm not, but I'm just saying for me, like, do you think it's really 50%? I'm more err on the side that I think that number's actually pretty small. I think most people that are greedy politicians don't stay in politics very long. They probably get voted out by their constituents. They probably get caught out. You see stories come out of crazy shit with politicians scamming stuff. I actually think that number is quite small. What that number is, I don't know. Maybe it's 5%. Maybe it's even 10%. But even at 10% or even at 20%, that means 8 out of the 10 people are good people trying to do what's good in politics. Right. And again, so I'm more default towards that. I don't think I'm naive. Like, some people say, oh, you're just naive. You don't realize all the corruption and everything. I just don't think. I think of it, again, I try to always break everything down pretty basic. And I think about my own personal life. And I think about all the people I've met in my life. And how many of those people would I say were actually bad people? And the number's not very high. Like, there's definitely some people in my life that I'm like, oh, that's a bad motherfucker. Like, and I don't mean bad motherfuckers and like, oh, that's one badass motherfucker. I mean, like, that person's a little fucked up in the head, like type, you know what I mean? Like that person's only out for themselves. They don't care about anybody else. They're greedy as a motherfucker. They'll sell their own brother out, like whatever those sayings are that we have about those type of people. But it's not that many people. Out of all the people I've met in my life, most people tend to be kind-hearted, tend to care about other people. I've done a lot, I've done a lot of solo traveling in my life, and I think that's what opened me up to that. Is I've gone to so many different places in this country. And it's just amazing to me when you're solo, like when you're just out there by yourself and you don't know people, like just how friendly and stuff people can be and how. So I don't know. Again, maybe I'm naive, but I just don't think that's most of our politicians. I think most are trying to do good. I think most people like to protect what they have. I think most, which are common human whatever. I think people, I think we all forget, even if we're good people, we have instances where we forget that everybody being raised up helps everybody. We get too concerned with what's ours, and not wanting to lose ours. I'm also definitely privileged as a white male in America. So I, but I can only offer my opinion. And my opinion just is I don't think most people are out to get other people. I think a lot of it's just fear. People are afraid to lose what's theirs. People are afraid that if things change too much, it won't be the same as it's always been. If they have it good, obviously you don't want the good to end for you. And that's hard. I mean, I think some things do need to change and stuff. And I'm not saying that those are right attitudes to have, but I think we quickly forget that while we're pointing, it's the old saying, while we're pointing the finger at the other person, we got 3 fingers pointing back at ourselves. We're so quick to say, oh, that person, is being greedy with the resources that he has here in the United States. But we forget, like, most of us don't go out and give all of our shit away either. Like, what we do have, like, most of us don't want to give up our shit either. Like, we forget that we're the same way. We're human also. And we forget that these people are human also. And so at the end of the day, I realize, like, people make mistakes. People will always make mistakes.
Everybody has those days.
And if we focus on all of humans' mistakes, we're only always going to get to a place where we all hate each other because we all fucking suck at times. I don't know. And I'll end it with there. America. Spider says in the chat. Buy those flags, boys.
Exactly. Are we ready to shift topics? Because I got some really good.
Yeah.
Really
that's our politics for the night, unless something else interesting comes up. But NDNW wanted to keep asking, so I felt we should throw it out there, or whatever.
Perfect.
All right. So what do you have next on the docket for us there, Mr. Codations?
All right, so this is probably pretty much just for me. If anybody else in the chat has anything else to add to it, that's perfect. They can also do that. All right, so D, fill me in a little bit here on just a quick synopsis. You're for sure into Bitcoin. I think you're also into stocks and stuff. Do you do any day trading stuff? Are you all in long-term investments? Do you, pretty much just give me a synopsis of kind of your play. I mean, what are you invested in, and what are things that you kind of keep an eye on? Don't know where to go with it or what?
No, it's a very, I mean, I know I'm hearing your intention behind the question, but it's a very broad question, a very broad finance question. So let me.
So then, how about this? Break it down. Get rid of some of the broadness of it and trim it down. Let me give you something. Here's the thing. I am coming into this completely blindsided, besides talking to a couple coworkers and family members on investing, how to learn to start investing. What are some things that that sort of thing. And then so that's not what I want to know right now. What I want to know is I just want to whoever's listening out there who doesn't know you, doesn't know me. I mean, you're invested, right? I mean, that's the thing. You're invested. I know you got Bitcoin. I know you're into that thing, but where does that extend for you? Do you do that sort of thing? Or is it just you invested a long time ago, you don't really do any more of it now? Do you day trade? Do you not day trade? What's your kind of status on that?
Sure. So first off, let me say, I think what most people fail when they first start getting into finance stuff, specifically investing, most people get interested in investing because they hear of a bunch of people making a bunch of money. Is that true? Sure. Yeah. There's lots of people that make tons of money in investing. However, it always comes up when something crazy is happening. So, for example, right now I have lots of friends that are always, let me start by saying this. Yes, I'm invested in Bitcoin. I've been invested in Bitcoin for a while. I still actively invest in Bitcoin. I personally have the belief that it's going to continue to rise. To what that number is, I don't know. I'll be honest, the number that's in my head is $1 million per Bitcoin. I have that belief. That's my studying cryptocurrencies, studying what they are, what Bitcoin is. My belief is that eventually, whether that's 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, or even 50 years down the road, when I'm already said and done with my investing, it don't matter anymore. I just believe that Bitcoin becomes the world's, I don't want to say currency, but the world's way of holding wealth. So we may still trade. For example, there's talks that the United States is going to do their own digital currency based off the United States dollar. So we would go to digital payments in the United States, but it would still be based in United States currency, whatever, however they decide to do that coin. But you have tons of different governments in the world. They're not all going to want to deal with a currency that is controlled by another government. Bitcoin solves that issue. It's not controlled by anybody. It's controlled by the Bitcoin network, which is everybody that's part of Bitcoin, that's part of the network that joins in, whether they mine, whether they run nodes for Bitcoin, whatever. So it's just gonna, in my opinion, be a way to store wealth. Do we do payments and stuff in Bitcoin? Yeah, that's absolutely a possibility. But I think first and foremost, it's the ledger that's going to hold all the other ledgers. So all the other cryptocurrencies that come out, all the other methods they come up with for doing payments over the internet instantaneously, there might be coins that come out that do it better. Like everybody always thinks, oh, Bitcoin's first generation, it's going to lose to another coin. Probably not, in my opinion. These are my beliefs. It's probably just going to become like gold. It's where people hold their wealth, and then if they need it to go into another currency for whatever, that'll all be done on the back end by computers. You won't even know that's happening. You'll have basically your checking account or your savings account, which will be Bitcoin wallet. Whether that's you hold the wallet yourself, like some people do, or whether you have it on an exchange like Coinbase or through Robinhood or PayPal now lets you buy Bitcoin. Wherever you're holding that, like a traditional bank, you're holding your Bitcoin at a place. But I do think it becomes the world's wealth holder. So with that said, yes, I'm in Bitcoin. I do not currently invest as much U.S. currency still into Bitcoin, but I do day trade other cryptocurrencies with the intent of growing my Bitcoin holdings, not to grow my U.S. cash. So I'm not looking at getting more U.S. dollars. I'm looking at getting more Bitcoin. So I'm day trading in Bitcoin, if that makes sense. I'm not day trading
you're day trading in other cryptocurrencies, but with the result of eventually turning that into Bitcoin.
Is my Bitcoin going up, not is my US dollars going up when I'm doing
Correct.
the trades.
Yep.
Yes, I also hold stocks. I also do a lot of stock investing. I have money on Robinhood. I have money in Stash. I have a 401k I have a 401k that I take 10% of my, well, I'm not working right now, but when I was working, 10% of my paycheck came out and went into that. My employee didn't even match that much, but I did 10% anyways. I think they matched 3% or something. But I did my 401k maxed out. 10% of my income went into that. I also do a Roth IRA that allows you to invest $6,000 a year into. I do that through Vanguard. So I use several different services for my stock market trading. But yes, I am actively invested in the stock market as well.
Do you day trade with that stuff too, or no?
I don't day trade in stocks. So I'm not actually a big day trader. And this is where I was getting kind of circling back to what I think people get confused about is they think the stock market, and it's like most things with people, they think it's going to be some kind of get rich quick thing. And if you go into finances first and foremost with the thought of a wealth building tool, you'll be leagues ahead of everybody else doing anything in finance. So what that means is you're not worried per se. It's not the dollar sign that matters. It's not do I have $100,000? Do I have $1 million? It's what is my wealth? What is my how do I increase my wealth? What moves do I make? What decisions do I make? And wealth is a long-term thing. How much your net worth is a long-term thing. You could day trade and make $1 million tomorrow, but then you could day trade the next day and lose half of that. With day trading, there's huge volatility. So wealth is more about how do I grow my net worth over time so that it's constantly going up and never going down. Things like day trading, things like just investing in cryptocurrencies, there might be a lot of upside for the moment, but there could become a huge downside. So wealth is more about, a lot of people think, oh, you invest in cryptocurrencies. Even, years ago when I started, they're like, wow, man, you're really, really, risky. You're a real risky investor. No, I'm actually very risk averse because my concentration is not on making a bunch of money right now. It's on making a bunch of money over the years. And I say that because so you're right. I am an investor in Bitcoin, but I was an investor in Bitcoin 8 years ago. I got into it. I was
Right.
before the blow up, before
Right.
so when you're wealth building, you're trying to find the things, the new technologies, the new companies. At least again, this is my way of doing it. That I can get in. Like people are like, oh, it's risky because you invested in Bitcoin. Well, if you know what I invested in Bitcoin originally, you probably wouldn't think it's that risky because I really didn't invest a lot in Bitcoin originally because
Right.
it wasn't a lot of money back then. When I invested a lot of money, not invested, but when I invested in Tesla, it wasn't worth as much as Tesla is now. So it wasn't a
Right.
huge risk for me to take a little bit of my dollars and move it towards either like a company like Tesla or a new technology like Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency. It
Well, let
was
me let me
a
pause you there. Let me pause
portion.
you there for
Go
one
ahead.
second. You've also told me in the past, and you're not the only person who's told me this, but and by the way, I've told other people this from you, and they said it was really, really good and well put. But you talked we talked about this before in the past, and your statement is it's not risky anyways from the very beginning. It's not risky, the moves that you have taken, because you're taking moves not in the sense of getting rich quick or looking to make a dollar. You're making moves based upon something that you believe in, so, or that you find that's doing something, that you believe in. Do you know what I mean? And so with that being the case, you made that a point to me forever ago. You know what I mean? That it's not so much in the mindset of thinking like, oh, I'm taking this, let's say $100 just for easy numbers, but I'm taking this $100 and I'm investing it here because I hope to just then flip that to $1,000. No, you're investing in something like Tesla or investing in something like this, company, because you believe in that company. You know what I mean? And if you were to happen to lose that $100, or for whatever reason, that $100 didn't turn into 1,000, you're okay with that because you're investing in something that you truly believe in. Is that still a thing?
Yeah, 100%. I only invest in what I believe in, and
Right.
for the most part. I mean, I do also invest in like an S&P 500, which holds a little bit of every stock, just kind of as a diversification tool, as a way of minimizing. Again, while I'm taking these risky chances, I'm also always trying to minimize my risk. And
Right.
you do that by, I even own some bonds and stuff, which when the stock market's doing great, like right now, bonds do horrible. You lose money on those. But the financial market has it set up to where if one thing's doing great, another thing might suffer. But then if another thing is suffering, the other thing does great. And they almost set up these checks and balances to kind of protect yourself as you learn about it, or to minimize your risk. So there's ways to minimize the risk too. But yes, overall, to answer your question more directly, I invest in what I believe in. Uh, and that has worked out for me. I will say, I think for that to work, you have to be a good human being. That might sound stupid, but like you have there's lots of people out there that don't think Tesla was going to do anything, but they don't care. And I don't mean that but I don't know how else to say it. But to me, the way I take it is they don't care about the environment. So like what's worked for me is like it's stuff I care about, yes, but like it's stuff I feel like everybody should care about. But not everybody does. So if you believe that coal's just fine and you're invested in coal and that's what you believe, like just because I guess what I'm trying to say is just because you're invested in stuff you believe in doesn't mean that it's going to work out for you.
Right.
What I tend to try to do, like to kind of add on to that, is I try to invest in what I believe in, but what I believe in is stuff that helps humanity as a whole and not just myself as a single person. Does that make
Right.
sense? So I
Yeah.
think you have to invest in stuff you believe in, but you also have to look for stuff that will add value to society, whether that's just the United States or whether that's the whole world, but that'll bring value to the whole society, the whole world. And that's what I look for personally. And then again, I also had to believe in it. But I try to stay away from stuff that just I might think, oh, I believe in it, but I don't see how they're actually going to provide much value, good value for the whole world, if that makes sense.
Right. 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 And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, for me personally, I just think, the reason why I was asking you this stuff and why I wanted to get your take on this, because the real question, or the thing that I wanted to get into a little bit here, is just, so long story short, ever since I was a kid, I'm going to say 5 or 6 years old, my parents, got divorced, and then my dad got remarried. And so basically my step grandpa, right, or my new grandpa, basically, from my stepmom, every year he gave us $50 savings bonds, right? Like, all growing
Mm-hmm.
up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you know anything about savings bonds, they basically they mature, right? So they
Mm-hmm.
get to a point, but then they get to, like, basically an end of life, like, maturity, right? To where, like, they're completely grown. I mean, they're not getting any money. There's no interest. There's no nothing. And so basically, at the end of the day, you get whatever that final value is on that bond. He bought it for $500. I think they were like 5 years or 10 years or whatever they were.
Yep.
At the time. And they matured. Well, I've got a handful of those, and they equate up to $500 is what I'm sitting at right now,
Yep.
right? So not my money, not my wife's money, not our personal money, nothing, but these $500 in savings bonds. And so what I thought about doing, because talking to somebody like you, and again, this could be just an age thing. I don't know if this is an age thing or what this is, but I mean, like, I've got a couple coworkers, that I've been working with now for over 3 years. Do you know what I mean? I've got a couple relatives that have been pretty big into it. D, I met you, what, a year ago? I mean, not even a year ago, probably half a year ago, but whatever. I mean, you're into the thing. I mean, I've been pretty much, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but like the past, like, year, I've been just swarmed and swallowed up by, by people that I know personally. That are into investing, right? So, like, whether it's, some day trading stuff, whether it's long-term investments, whether it's just, strictly, safe stuff and conservative stuff, all across the board. And I find myself more compelled, right? Not in terms of, my goal is not to be, get rich quick scheme, right? Like, that's not my goal, right? Like, I've talked to several of you guys, to really, dial that down, right? And be like, hey, it's not all, what I mean? It's not all, like, you're going to get rich tomorrow. I mean, not saying that option isn't there, running, like, day trades and stuff, and crazy things like that. But it's one of those things where that shouldn't be the goal, right? And so where I'm coming from, or my angle that I'm coming from, is I got this $500, right? I've talked to a couple of my friends, or people that I know, and a lot of them are pointing me in the direction of jumping onto a site like, E-Trade or Schwab, something like that, where I can play with things. And so what I mean by that is they're talking about, just taking something small, like $100, and throwing it into a site like that. And then, then doing like what you were talking about, where I don't know anything, man. Like, I don't know companies out there. I don't know. I literally am unplugged from anything like that. So, I have to do research. I mean, I have to find out, okay, what company, is this, what do they believe in? I mean, things like that. Or maybe I pick out some hot topics, or whatever it is, and try to learn, right? And and what I'm learning is basically the fundamentals, man. Like, I don't know anything about stocks. I don't know anything about investing. The only thing I know is people put money in, and apparently the stocks go up and down, up and down, up and down. You know what I mean? And then you just, hold on to that stock either forever. Do you know what I mean? Or, if you're looking, to try to make some sort of money, right? You hold on to it, I guess, until it either rises, the highest it's ever rose, or, you sell it, or you keep it, whatever it is. I don't know. But that's the extent that I know, man. I don't know
Right.
anything else. Do you mean? And here's my goal. And this is why all of this is spiking up. I'm 27. The wife is 27, right? We have a child. Me and the wife both have had 401ks. I've had a 401k pretty much like since like 2008 or 9, right? Like when I was working one of my first ever jobs, that they said that I can opt into a, a 401k or like a retirement plan. I mean, I've been pretty much putting money into, into those things, right? And so beyond that, though, I haven't been contributing to anything, to, long term. And so I'm 27 years old, you know what I mean? And sure, I've been accumulating, especially at my job now, I've been putting in, what is it, 5% or something? I know you're putting in 10, but like I put in 5%, my company puts in 5%, it's what their match is, so a 10% is going into my account. And that's great. But I want more, in the sense of, retirement. I want to be able to hit that age, and not be stuck. It's not that I want to hit that age to be a millionaire, but that's kind of my goal. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of like why I'm wanting to try to get into some of this. I'm not looking to get rich quick. I'm looking to actually get into it, get my feet wet, learn about it. And try to then do kind of what you do or other people do. Where I can then make some of those decisions. Find some companies I believe in that I really like what they're doing, and then move some investing in into that into those companies, and then hopefully profiting a little bit. That's kind of the last thing on my mind, but that's the whole point of this in the long run, I guess. But I don't know.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Let me pee real quick. Sorry, this is on out to maybe cut this section out, but let me pee real quick. I'll be right back, and then I got something for you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, anyways, what are you guys up to? Anybody else here in the chat? Let's see what we got here. Says finally an inside opinion that makes me happy. Kids and grownups sharing opinions. God bless us all and all, unless you don't believe it. Thanks for sharing. I agree that needs fight have to go. Yeah, for sure. Says I don't see it is a matter of malice as much a matter of greed. We already saw that with by Hokage. We've got America ... Something feels different in my house. Anyways, all right, yeah. Well, I was just gonna catch up on chat, guys, but I haven't seen a whole lot of anything new from the last time that we have mentioned anything. But what are you guys up to? You guys playing any games? You guys watching anything? Alex, are you still here listening to the live stream? How is Valheim, sir? I saw that you were playing that earlier, so didn't know if you were here. You back?
Yes, sir. So let me. Okay,
Sweet.
so we probably lost most people in chat getting into finances. It's just unfortunate because most of the people that hang out in our chats are probably pretty young kids, and if you get this stuff at an early age, my God, how fucking. The one thing, everybody that starts getting into this stuff, the more they get into it, they all have the same wish that they would have found out this stuff sooner. Right, so, just saying. Okay, but anyways, dive in. So let me say two things, or let me do two things. First off, let me give you a piece of advice. If it was me, I would take the $500 and I would invest it in whatever company you want to invest it in. Open up an account. I would not do E-Trade or anything. I would just use Robinhood. It's free to trade with Robinhood. There's no reason not to. Open up Robinhood. Buy some stocks that you like. You can buy half shares and stuff. So even if, like, let's say an Apple shares $1,500 a share and you don't have that, you can buy $10 worth of Apple. Whatever. Just buy whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Don't think about it. Just like how you started YouTube. You're going to make mistakes. Don't worry about it. Think of it this way. That $500, if you lose every bit of it, will be worth way more to you than any college education in finance will give you. So just go in it with the idea that you're going to lose this $500 and don't give two shits. Buy whatever you want. If it goes down, cool. If it goes up, cool. Doesn't matter. Because what happens is the moment you decide to do it and you start doing it and you start putting some of your money on the line, it will force you. You won't even be able to not to. It'll force you to start looking up more information about it. Just like you're getting curious now. It'll just heighten that curiosity. It'll force you because you'll know you have $500 on the line. In finance world, we call it skin in the game. You'll have skin in the game, and it'll force you to start looking at stuff. It'll force you to start trying to learn more. If you lose every bit of that $500, that's awesome. That would be the best thing that could happen to you because you will learn a shit ton about the stock market, a shit ton. And it'll be the $500 will be worth all the training that you'll receive from that. So don't even think about it. Don't even worry about it. Just fucking do it. Like, just fucking do it. That would be my first advice.
Okay.
Number two. Number two. Why don't I think what might help is let me explain how I set up my life and my finances. And maybe that'll kind of paint the picture of the goal. So with me, the goal, the reason that I'm worried about wealth and not finances, not money value, is I'm worried about, first off, I'm worried about my time over money.
Okay.
I don't care if I have $1 million. I don't care if I have $100. Is my time my time? That's my first concern over anything else.
Okay.
Is what I'm doing what I want to be doing? Am I happy doing what I'm doing? If the answers are yes, overall, obviously there's going to be things in life that you got to do, just being an adult and shit, taking care of family. Maybe you don't want to take care of your kid that day. You still got to fucking do it. But overall, am I at least going in the direction I want to be going to achieve the goals I wanted to get to whatever? So that's my first thought. So then what that does for me is that turns money to this. How can it help me have more of my time? How can I build wealth so that I'm not paying somebody else to where then I'm losing my time because I have to do things that I don't want to do to pay those people back? So, how do you get there? Money. Money gets you there. But with that thought as your thought, it kind of helps lead you into, in my opinion, how you should set up your finances. So first things first, I don't have car payments. I don't have credit cards debt. I have credit cards, but I don't carry credit card debt because all of that takes money away from me because I'm paying interest to somebody else. And then because I'm beholden to having some kind of monthly payment that then says that I can't do what I got to make enough money to pay all these bills. So first and foremost, to me comes with, I'm okay with driving a 5-year-old car. I'm okay with not having the newest everything. Some things I like having the newest stuff, but it just makes you start becoming more conscious of where your money's going out at. Then the second thing is, so if I don't want to borrow money from people, then what do I need to do? I need to have enough cash that if one of my cars dies, one of my cars needs repaired, we have cash in a savings account that I can access to pay for that and then build back up. So I have my own credit card. I have my own credit line. It's just a savings in a bank that I can pull money from. A lot of times what people call this in the finance world is kind of an emergency fund. Typically, what most people recommend is having everybody varies. I'll just tell you mine. And again, none of this is financial advice. I have to say this stuff none of this is what you should do. This is just what I do. So my emergency fund covers 1 year of living expenses, which means if me and my wife both lost our jobs, we could live off of this savings account for 1 year and pay all of our monthly payments. That doesn't mean we have, $200,000 in a savings account. It means that we keep our monthly expenses low enough. And yeah, we get extra money that comes in and we do stuff with that, but we keep the core requirements of money going out small enough that then there's never a huge issue if we were to lose our jobs. We're not beholden to have to worry about making each $100,000 a year. We could both make $30,000 a year and still at least pay our bills at the bare minimum because we keep our bills low. And I think that's the start to building wealth. It's not, everybody got you'll hear a lot of financial gurus say things like, oh, give up that $5 cup of coffee at Starbucks, and then you'll become rich. No, it doesn't. But the I don't want to say the guideline, the thought behind it works. What they're really saying is, be careful spending your fucking money. Don't just be spending all your fucking money. You got to put some of it away for shit. So first step, building a 1 year expenses. So then you say, okay, but then what people don't realize is that 1 year expenses, yes, it helps you if you both lose your jobs. But the truth is, there's probably not, again, I don't know that your wife works or does work or whatnot, but in most households, both people are working. There's probably not going to be a time that both of you lose your job at the same exact time, that neither of you are working and that you have to access all that fully. But it gives you that peace of mind so that you're not then worried about it. But then what that fund does allow you to do is, again, it allows you to give yourself loans. You gotta be whatever enough to Spider says, "Hey Derek, I'm gonna head out. All right, Spider, have a good night." You have to be committed enough that you pay back the loan to yourself, and you can even charge yourself then interest. So what me and the wife will do is maybe we'll pull, like maybe we'll want to buy, maybe I want to buy a new gaming PC for $3,000. I'll pull that out. I'll charge myself 5% interest. So I'll, or let's just, to make it easy, I'll charge myself 10% interest, which means instead of I pulled out 3,000, I'll put back in 3,300, an extra $300. And then you're not paying somebody else to borrow the money. It gets you free of all the debt. Debt sucks money dry from people, especially like I would say the only debt to me nowadays that makes sense would be like a house loan. It's pretty low. The interest rates are pretty fucking low. You really can't. You can normally make more out of the stock market than what you're paying in an interest loan to a house. So it makes sense. But most car loans, especially credit cards where you're talking like 25, 30% APR, interest rates and stuff. If you could give those to yourself when you need them, have that saves you a ton of money. And again, even if you're only then charging yourself like a 5% interest rate, you're then making money on your money to yourself.
But you're talking to somebody who doesn't have that.
Correct.
The credit.
So that's right. So
doesn't have the car loans. Doesn't, you know what I mean? But
awesome.
instead of investing additional money, you're talking to somebody who has had a savings account, who is relying on the bank to put nothing in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it's accruing interest, but nothing's happening. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's not doing anything for me. And that's the situation that I'm in. You know what I mean? And it's more or less like one of those things where, but again,
but that's right. But that
I have zero direction.
Yes, but that's correct. Your emergency fund's not going to make any money. That's not what it's for. So now it can make some, like you should have your savings in a high yield savings account. So like, for example, I use American Express. So I make right now, it's not high, but it's better than banks. Banks will give you like 0.02% interest or something. High yield saving rates, they can range, like right now mine's at 0.5%. 0.50, but sometimes it can be like 1.8%, which is again not high, but it could be, on a $10,000, that could be $180, a month or whatever.
That's way more than what you're going to get at a bank. So
right. So you should have it in there, but it's not for investing. It's for giving yourself loans, which saves you a ton of money because you're not paying interest out to somebody else, and it's there in case of an emergency. So that you then don't have to go into your investments, because that's where the wealth comes from. The moment you have to sell investments to pay for stuff, then, okay, let's say you made $100 on a stock. The moment you pull it out, you now got to pay capital gains tax on that, 42%. Right. So you made $100, you're left with 58. Or whatever. And I mean, there's deduction stuff, but like you pay capital gains tax on any income.
Right.
So you're immediately losing, let's just say, to make it easy, and it's not this much, but 50%. So whatever you make, the moment you sell it, then you got to pay a 50% tax on that to the government. So the object is not to touch your investments for years and years and years, and instead borrow off of the investments. So you use your wealth as a way to get money without actually tapping into your money. That's what the rich do. They're using other people's money. When you turn around and you have $1 million in assets, your net worth is you're a millionaire. It's no longer that hard to get people to give you money. It just isn't. People will give you money left and right for business people and everything. Like you want to go open a car wash. You're like, oh, I'm a millionaire, I'm going to open these car washes. You'll find an investor that'll give you a loan for 2-3%. Meanwhile, you're making on average 8%. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it is. So again, that beginning part is about making it so that you don't have to then touch your investments. Because what most people do is they start investing. They don't have any savings. They don't have any other money. They're just taking the money that they do have saved, and they're moving that to investments. Then the problem is the first time they have a car issue or any other kind of issue, they got to pull all that money out. They got to pay capital gains tax, which they don't right away. So then at the end of the year, when it all hits, they owe a bunch of money to the government. And then they're like, oh, fuck. So again, it's about not touching that. So you want to have that. So if you like, I don't know what your savings right now looks like. I'm guessing it doesn't cover 1 year of expenses. Meaning you tally up how much money you're required to send out every single month to people.
Right.
Whether that's a house loan, car loans, credit card debt, whatever you have that goes out, you got to sit down, figure that out, and then times that by 12, and that's what you need to have in a high yield savings account. Now, to get there, that doesn't mean you can't start off investing. So then the next step is, so like when me and my wife started and really got into this, the next step was, okay, how much money can we put away? We figured out this is how much goes out every month. So it's the age-old classic of, everybody hates the word, a budget.
Right.
You got to sit down and come up with a budget. How much money do we have going out every month? How much money are we bringing in? What's left over? If the answer is zero, everything's going out, then you gotta start with how can we reduce expenses. Okay? But then you get to that point, whether that's to start, whether that's 5% of your income, 10% of your income, all the way up to, I recommend 20% personally. We save 20% of what we bring in goes into, and then that 20% gets split. 10% goes into savings, 10% goes into investments. And then when you go to investments, it goes to, like I said, most of your money to start going into investments should go into an ETF fund, like an S&P 500 ETF, which it's a fund that you buy that then like, let's say you put in $100, it takes that $100 and it gives you a little bit of all the top 500 stocks in the S&P 500. So it splits that up automatically for you into the top 500 companies. On average, if you just hold an S&P 500 ETF, you're going to make 8% per year on your money. That's the average. Okay. Every year, 8% you make. Then, as you're building that up, so that's the best way to start. This will take you years, by the way, just to do that right there. Okay. So you're doing that. You're taking your income, you're dividing it, whatever you're investing per month, you're dividing it in half. You're putting half in your savings to build up to that 1 year expenses. You're putting half into an S&P 500 ETF, and that's all. That's it. It's that simple. You're done. There is no buying single stocks. There's just that. So then your money's making 8%, and then you're making, whatever you're getting for high yield savings. I had to sneeze.
No worries.
Okay, so then once you do that, and I know this is a lot, man, but this is the way that it works for me. Like, this is the way to do it. There's no other way, in my opinion. You can get lucky in day trade and stuff, but this is the way to build wealth, in my opinion. So
it's very informational. Like I said, I'm learning a lot just by listening to you, and I've already picked up on a lot of things. So yeah.
So then, and actually to start, I say invest in an S&P 500. You should get a Roth IRA that you can contribute a max of $6,000 a year, because you get tax advantages for that. And then you can just invest that Roth IRA in an ETF fund on the S&P 500. I use Vanguard. So anyways, so after you do that, so then what you're going to wait for, you're going to do that until you get to the point where you have 1 year expenses in a savings account. Once you do that, you keep saving the money, the other half that you were saving for your savings, but you now put that into your stock account, but you don't buy anything at all. That money can then become, in my opinion, what could become your free money to play around with. And you might adjust it. You might decide, you know what, I want to stay safe. Like, you can kind of decide your own risk profile. So you can decide, I want to stay super safe. So now that we have 1 year expenses, let's say you were saving 10%. So now I have 5% from that savings that I'm saving out of every paycheck. I'm going to put another 2.5 of that into the ETF S&P, max out my Roth IRA. That's a great way to start. Then you take that other 2.5% and you invest it in companies you believe in or whatever. And that, in my opinion, is the way to do it. Now there's a lot of financial advisors out there and stuff that'll say, first and foremost, you should pay off all debt you have first before you even start investing. You should pay off, or even start a savings account. You should just pay off any interest you owe. So credit cards, especially any credit card debt, pay that off. School loans, pay those off. Then do everything I said. And actually, then they say build up your 1 year, emergency fund first, then invest. I just think then people get bored and it doesn't really work that well. So I don't think there's anything wrong with, like, are you going to be losing some money by not paying off high interest stuff first? Absolutely. You're not going to make enough in the investments probably, unless you get lucky in day trading, which is, it's very gambly, I would say. You're going to be losing money that you're paying in interest. So the correct option is pay off all your interest as quick as possible. For me, that didn't work. It was just too boring. Like, yeah, I got debt. I'll pay it off, but I don't want to just pay off debt. I want to invest some. I want to save money and not like, so it was a mixture of the method that I explained to you is what worked best for me. And I got to say, I think it's the best option.
So do you think, by the way, you can reach out to Hokage.
Real quick, Hokage says, anyways, it's getting a little late. I'm going to head out. All right, Hokage. Sorry, I know you like anime, but we've talked about anime the last couple of streams. I'm over anime. Anyways, continue. But have a good night, Hokage. Love you, man.
So my question is, okay, so do you think that if a person was to wait until all of those things are accomplished and achieved and all debt is paid off, do you think that it would be too late then potentially for some people, depending on their age, to then start doing the investments and everything before, they get
no, it's never too late. Never ever. Again, this is about building wealth. So it's never too late to build wealth. There are huge benefits to start the earlier you start, what's called compounded interest. And actually I pulled this up. So let me go through this thing here. And this was one of like the first things that taught me about the power of compounded interest. And this is why, if you're super young and you're listening to this is why getting started really early, like not maxing out credit cards when you're young, not doing all the stupid stuff that most of us do. And even when you're sitting here hearing this and in another year, you'll hit that age and then you'll do it anyways. But if you can actually control yourself and not, this is the power of what he's like, where he says, is it too late? So let's say, so there's this thing. I read this a long time ago. This isn't my thing, but it's, would you bet 10 cents on a game of golf? So it says, let me give you an example to illustrate the power of compounding. Let's say we played a game of golf and we made a friendly bet of 10 cents on the first hole with the bet doubling on each hole. Would you take on this bet? Like if I was like, hey, Kodesh, let's do a friendly bet. We'll bet 10 cents. 10 cents on the first hole and we'll double it every hole. So the next hole will be 20 cents. Then the next hole will be 40 cents. Just a friendly game, not too expensive of a bet or whatever. Would you be down to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, if you were familiar with the game of golf, you would know that there's only 18 holes. So how much can the bet be on the 18th hole? Well, let's see how the bet increases on the first 9 holes. So as I said, hole 1, we bet 10 cents. Hole 2, right, 20 cents. Hole 3, 40 cents. Hole 4, 80 cents, $1.60, $3.20, $6.40, $12.80. Hole 9, $25.60. So now at the 9th hole, the bet is $25.60. We are already halfway there. So how much could it be on the 18th hole? $100, $300, $500? Let's go on. Hole 10, $51.20. Hole 11, $102.40. 12, $204.80. 13, $409.60. 14, $819.20. 15, $1,638. Hole 16, $3,276. Hole 17, $6,553. Hole 18, $13,107. As you can see on the 18th hole, the bet becomes a whopping $13,107. When given enough time, the power of compounding can turn very small amounts of money into huge sums. So when it reaches that, when it reaches that critical point, the growth becomes exponential. So that's why when you start early and you can actually not touch that investment, it can pay off huge for you in the long run, because of that just compounding. Because the first year you invest, let's say maybe you get $1,000 into the stock market, and let's say you make $100. Well, then the next year you put in another $1,000, but then you're also going to make interest that second year on that $1,000 you just put in, plus the $1,100 you have from the first year. Then the third year, you're gonna put in another $1,000, and then you're going to make interest on that $1,000. But then you're also going to make interest on that $2,300 from the first 2 years. So every year you're adding to your principal, which then gives you more. Even though you're not increasing how much you're saving, you're increasing your total principal, your total wealth, which then that percentage adds on to that at the end of every year. Does that make sense? Does that?
Yeah, no,
you get what's going on?
Totally get it. Yeah.
Alex says then a crash happened. Back to 10 cents. Oh, that's true. Crashes happen in the stock market, but thus far, the stock market's been in existence for how long? Let's see. How long has the stock market been in existence? 1792. Thus far, even with losses, years where it's lost 50% of its value. Huge crashes like the Great Depression and stuff. If you still just take the time in the market, the average, if you just invest in the S&P 500, is 8% a year. So it always comes back thus far. Is there a day when it doesn't? Yes. But that fear, in my opinion, is kind of, and I know you're just saying a joke, Alex, but just for people listening and stuff, to me, that fear never makes sense because, again, I always break things down to what's called first principle thinking. I always go back to first principle thinking, which means take it back to the basics as far as you can. If the whole stock market completely crashed to the point where it could no longer recover and it completely ended, what would that mean? That would mean the entire United States economy has collapsed completely, not just a depression or a recession, but completely, which would mean any amount of money you have doesn't mean anything anyways anymore. So it really doesn't matter that you lost it all at that point, if that actually was to happen, because nobody's going to accept your money no matter what you have.
Correct. And then anybody that's listening thinks that at that point they'd say, oh, I can just go to the bank and get my money. Nope. Banks are locked up. There is no money.
Even if you could, you have issues like we've seen it with other countries, like right now, Venezuela. These people got wheelbarrows full of cash and they can't even buy a banana with it. Like the money it's built on trust. That's all it is. Money is just trust in a society. So the moment that trust ends, it's no longer worth anything. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have $5 billion or $100. Like it no longer you're talking about complete anarchy at that point. You're talking about going back into like the dark ages. Which could it happen? Sure. I guess there's a very, very small chance. But again, at that point, if that did happen, whether you lost all your money or not isn't going to matter. Even if you didn't lose it all and you somehow cashed out at the exact right moment, nobody else gives a fuck about that currency anymore. So it's still not going to do you any good to have $50 million in United States currency when the United States currency just doesn't have trust behind it anymore.
Right, exactly. At that point, then my woodworking skill becomes into play.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Your skills of can you hunt and get food for people to barter and trade for other shit? Like that's true though. Like it goes back to that, like bartering and trading. That's what it
right.
like. If currency fails,
I instantly become, the bowsmith.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're exactly, and that's what would happen. Is the skills that take priority to survival will be the most important for bartering.
Right. Exactly. That's why secretly I've been, throwing axes in my backyard and, taking hunting excursions in the woods on my free time. So then that way I learn how to build camps and stuff, and set booby traps for people so I can capture humans.
Whoa. We're not going. I mean, if you got to become a cannibal, dude, that's on you. This stream does not condone cannibalism.
No, I'm not becoming a cannibal. It's just, other people have items and it then becomes
Rust in real life.
World out there.
Rust exactly. In real life.
Exactly. It instantly becomes, how can I capture somebody without, decapitating them, but then yet still allow me to search their bags and pockets and take their shit.
Yeah, I don't actually. If it really went back to that, you actually probably would consider killing them because then you got the fear of if you let them go, what are they going to come back and do to you since you took all their stuff? That's what I said. Shit gets crazy if it actually goes to that. So I don't think we go there, but who knows? I mean, again, if you look at society, the world as a whole, for the most part, at least in terms of like finances and stuff, things have gotten better for most people over the years. Alex says, yeah, I was kidding, but the important thing is to aim at long time. Exactly. That doesn't mean, but see, here's the thing. When you set yourself up for wealth generation and not get rich quick, eventually what that does is it frees up some of your resources to then start taking some risks. It was nothing for me back when Bitcoin was a couple dollars per Bitcoin to pull $1,000 out of whatever, out of any investments or savings or whatever I had, and invest that into Bitcoin. There was no risk there. I had all this stuff in play. If Bitcoin crashed, I lost my jobs, I got a year's worth of like to live on. I could find a job in a year. Like, plus I'd collect unemployment for a while before I even got to dip into that. Just like right now, I've been without a job for about 4 months. I haven't had to dip into any of my emergency fund because I'm getting unemployment. So like there's other, so again, it's that when you set it up right to begin with, that then is what allows you to get to the point where you can take risks, but you're not taking risks that could financially hurt you. Does that make sense? I don't know. And that's my method. That's my way of doing it. That's how I've done it. I personally think, again, some people say you should pay off debt first. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. I just don't think that works for everybody because it's a very boring, it doesn't, I believe to keep things going, you got to keep excitement with it. And I see so many people that all they're trying to do is pay off debt. And it seems like a never-ending hole. At least if you're investing a little bit of something and saving a little bit of something, at the end of the month or even at the end of each year, you have something to show for it that makes you start. You're not just at the end of the day still at $0 with some bills that aren't paid on paper. Does that make sense? So that's why I did it that way when I first got started, and it worked for us. That doesn't mean we didn't aggressively try to pay down our debt. What ends up happening is and this is what I tell everybody. This is why I said to you, my first advice before any of that is just to take that $500 and blow it in the stock market. Like I just told you to do all that stuff, but then I also said at the very beginning, take that $500, buy whatever. Because when you start down the path, it's kind of like everything else. You just naturally get better at it. It's a skill you develop just like everything else. So then what starts to happen is you invest that $500, you buy some Apple, some Microsoft, some Nvidia, or whatever, whatever companies, maybe you buy some, I don't think Steam's a publicly traded company, but maybe you buy some different gaming stocks and stuff, things you're interested in, VR stuff. I'm currently buying a lot of VR stuff. So I buy a lot of Nvidia stock. I got some AMD, stuff like, I've also bought a lot of cryptocurrency stuff lately, and not just Bitcoin, but companies that are doing stuff in the blockchain space. So that's, right. Because those are things I'm excited for. So then you start making some money with that. And what happens is then the budget part becomes more fun, because then you say, oh, wait, I don't need to spend this much. I don't need this tier of internet. I could be this. Yeah, it'd be a little bit of a pain because now it might take twice the amount of time to upload one of my videos to YouTube, but I could just do it at night anyways when I'm sleeping. I don't need this cell phone plan. I don't actually need to get a new phone every year. And if I don't do that, then I have more money that I can put towards paying off these credit cards, putting in my savings, or buying more investments. It becomes like what's that word? Like a self-reinforcing habit. There's a term for it, but it becomes like this self-replicating thing. Like you start becoming excited about it as you start doing it. And then you just do it quicker and better, if that makes more sense. Like it's a skill like anything else. So that's why I say the very first thing I would do is take that $500 and buy some stocks you like. But then know that wealth creation is not picking the right stocks and being done with it. Wealth creation is setting up your entire financial life to not make money important, but to make your time important.
Makes sense.
I don't know. I hope that answered your questions. I hope that gave you what you were looking for.
Oh yeah. No, it definitely gave me some insight on everything. No, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I think it's a great way to end that discussion. I mean, like I said, it pretty much, it lays out some stuff for me, gives me some information, gives me some insight, you know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, again, it's very interesting to listen to it all. And it's very interesting, to see and converse with people, who have been in the market, you know what I mean? And do whatever it is that they do and the way that they do it and what reasons why they do it. It's very interesting. I guess to shine some light a little bit on,
yeah. And before you,
situation.
yep. And before you do that, because then that might take us down some other specific rabbit holes. I just want to get Alex's comment real quick, because I do think this is another important point to make in terms of finance. And again, Alex, I hope you're not taking any of this as like me clapping back on you or anything, just because I'm more using it so I can, if anybody's listening to this, again, because the regret that any of us that once we get our finances in order and once we understand this concept of wealth generation versus get rich quick, you realize that it is the game. And when you realize that, the only thing you wish is that somebody else would have told you sooner about this stuff. You wish you would have learned it sooner, and you wish school would have taught you it sooner, or somebody would have sat down and explained it to you sooner. So with that's what I'm trying to do by responding to some of Alex's stuff. He says today Bitcoins are much more a risk than when you did it. Correct. To invest in Bitcoin today I think it's at like $58,000 per Bitcoin right now as of today. To invest in it today is much more risky than when I invested in it early on. However, I preface that to say I still actively purchase and invest in Bitcoin because I believe personally that it's going to get to $1 million per coin or even more. However, I also don't take all of my money, even though I personally believe Bitcoin's going to hit $1 million a coin. If somebody really believes that, you would think the first thought would be, okay, every dollar I can get extra, forget all my other investments, forget my Roth IRA, forget the S&P 500, my 8% per year, forget my savings account, and just put everything I can into Bitcoin because I believe. And when I say it, I'm not just saying, oh, I believe, but maybe not. I believe 100% Bitcoin will hit that. I still don't pour every dollar I have into Bitcoin. That when diversification comes into play and you're safeguarding your assets. Because even though I do actually believe that inside me, I realize I could be wrong. It doesn't mean I think I'm wrong, but I'm smart. But you got to get to the point where you realize like you're not smart enough to know everything. So even if you're 100% certain on something, that doesn't mean you should go all in on it. So again, it's the minimizing of risk that then allows you to take more risk. So yes, it's more risky to invest in Bitcoin today. I still do. But I don't invest everything I have into Bitcoin. I'm not pouring every dollar I get into Bitcoin. I'm still being smart about my investing. I'm still minimizing my risk as much as possible while also still investing in something I believe in. And I just think that's an important thing to say to people. Like there's like systems that come, like the stuff you read in books about finances, the stuff like it's there and it works for a reason, because it's hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people that have done this stuff before you, that have figured out how, like, don't just assume you know it all. Like use the systems that are in place, and the reason they stay in place is because they work. They build wealth. Alex says it's speculation. It can drop the next day. There is a high risk, high reward. But in your situation, that you have other investment means that you can take that risk. Exactly. And that, I think, is an important distinction. That a lot of people, like right now, a lot of people are seeing the Bitcoin stuff going up. They think they should jump in. They start pouring every bit of money, extra money they have into it. And if it crashes, they're left with nothing. If Bitcoin crashes, do I lose a hell of a lot of money? Yes. Am I left with nothing? No. Do I still have a decent amount of money? Yes. It doesn't matter to me if Bitcoin dies. I mean, it would suck, but it doesn't matter. All right. Anyways, now going into what you were saying, Kodesh, about kind of more your personal, where you're at.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that, I mean, like I said, to just wrap up the whole thing, I mean, it's just, to me, it's one of those things where, getting involved in it is more or less, like you said, a long-term investment. I'm not looking to make any money right away. I have zero investments currently besides, my 401. I will tell you that, my 401, which again, we can talk about this later on off stream at some point, but we just had our meeting with our 401k person, that came into our work, asking if we want to make any changes, that kind of sort of thing. I'm 27. I have mine set to aggressive. Do you mean, so it's, they're playing with my money a lot more, with my 401k because I'm young. I was advised to do that by a lot of other people, so it's being invested, and not at my leisure. They're taking care of all of that. I'm assuming some sort of, 500 or, something, whatever they invested in on their end. So again, for me, it's just one of those things where I'm just looking to get in, into something additional, to aid in that. So again, thank you very much for sharing that information with me, because, it helps me, it's going to be something that, I will be looking more into, and I'm sure me and you will have several conversations, about that stuff as I ask you questions later on. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to.
Okay. Let me add one last thing too.
Yep.
The best way to increase your net worth is not through investing. Investing is a way to have your money make you money that you've already made. Again, compounded interest and all that's great, and eventually, you could. But it kind of sucks to live life so penny pinching that you don't get to enjoy the things you want to do. Like, there's times that I just waste money on whatever. But the best way to increase your net worth outside of like long-term investing, like if you want to do it quicker, is entrepreneurship, is starting a business, is having a side hustle, is doing something to increase how much money you can get in there as quick as possible into that savings. And then again, not blowing it all. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy stuff. Doesn't mean you can't sometimes buy stuff. Just means about being thoughtful with your money and buying things that actually are going to make you happy, and not just getting into the habit of buying things because you think it's going to make you happy, and then a month later you don't even use the product or anything anymore. It's just about becoming more intentional with your money. But the best way to increase your net worth is entrepreneurship, or becoming really good at a skill that you can get very high. You can make a lot of money with any skill if you're really fucking good at it. If you're a woodworker, you can make $20 an hour. If you're one of the best woodworkers in the country, you can make a hell of a lot of money. If you're one of the best woodworkers in the fucking world, you can make billions. There's like, become really good at a skill or start your own business or something. That's how you really, really increase your net worth and stuff. So,
right.
Alex in the chat says, I don't know the word in English, but at one point you want to spread your investment and not invest all in the same hole. Yeah, it's called diversification. Or the saying we use here is, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, Alex is from the French Canadians.
So that I just wanted to end with that. Like, setting up your investments, your finances, how I said, is just how you should operate your finances. Increasing how much you're making, how much you can invest. Because again, wealth building is long term, so it's not going to do anything for you in the next 5 to 10 years. It's going to do something for you in the next 20 to 30 to 40 years. It's just going to keep growing and build your wealth, which then allows you to have a lot more freedoms in life. But to increase your actual earnings, you gotta, like I said, business, becoming really good at a skill, really fucking good, putting everything into that or whatever. So. And that's that's my financial advice to anybody, I guess. That's the
message to the night for anybody listening is going to be, do what you love to do and invest in the things that you love to do. So if you love pole dancing, you know where to drop those dollars at.
Exactly. Exactly.
If you
lots of lube for the pole.
Go down to the corner. You know where they are. You got to support them, man. You need to.
I don't know very many strippers standing on a corner. I think those are called prostitutes.
No, I mean like the strip joints. Like we've got strip joints here, like downtown. Like
yeah, I know. I was just kidding.
I guess that phrase on the corner is kind of fucked. I shouldn't have used that because that does kind of represent, the hookers on the corner. I guess makes sense. I was using it in terms of the business, but yeah, never mind. Never.
So again, I'm happy to ever answer specifics. Anybody. If anybody's, I love talking finance and stuff, but I just don't think it's as complicated as people think it is. That's why I always people ask, and it's like they expect some kind of miracle answer, and it's really just it's a lot simpler than you think. It's just like everything in life. It's just consistency and what's the word? Like actually doing it, like actually just fucking doing it. that matters. Like most things in life. So, any other topics? Any other things you wanted to go over tonight? You wanna wrap it up there? Do you think that's a good spot to wrap it up for the night, or
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think
All
so.
right.
Yeah, I
All
think
right. Cool.
so.
Cool.
I think so. BlizzCon, Bitcoin, and investments. Boom. There's your title.
Like we haven't had a title with Bitcoin in it before.
Nope, we haven't. Nope, we haven't. So
Like it's our first. It is our first and last time talking about Bitcoin.
Yep, ever. Yep, ever. Yep.
Yo, as always, though, before we actually do jump out of here, Codations, if you don't mind letting people know that might be listening to podcasts, again, if they listen, they probably know what you do, but maybe shout out your socials, your URLs, or whatever you want to shout out to let people. Alex says, BlitzCon, take a pee Bitcoins. Exactly. I didn't have to take a pee break on this one. But anyways, you want to shout out where the people can find you, before we end here, and then I will do the same, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, for sure. Anyways, thank you guys for listening. Anybody that's out there currently. Again, my name is Codations. I've got a YouTube channel. We do a whole lot of stuff about mobile gaming over there on the YouTube channel. So if that's something that you fancy, you can hop over there for that. I do have a Twitter account that I do try to post on, but I'm very, very active in my Discord community, which we've got that over there. And then yeah, so I mean that's pretty much it. I mean you can go to Codations on YouTube to catch any of my mobile stuff. Otherwise, hop in the Discord and we can chat about anything. So I'm pretty much an open book when it comes to that stuff. But again, thank you very much, Derek, for having me on the podcast, sir. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to the episodes to come. So
awesome. And again, if you guys want to find anything else about me, want to hit me up, you want some investment advice, I don't give it. I'm not an investment advisor. But if you just want to know what I do, I'm happy to share, or anything else. Gaming, I do lots of different stuff. I don't know if I ever really do one thing in life, but I do gaming stuff. I do streaming stuff. If you're trying to become a streamer, I do a lot of streaming tutorials and help videos and stuff. I also do a lot of gaming videos, and I also do random stuff here and there. Do this podcast with Codations. But if you want to find me and find any of my other content, the best place is just to go to my website, omgitsderek.com. omgitsderek, DEREK.com. And links to all my socials, links to my photography, portfolios, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all that, Twitch channel, all that right on my website. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in as always. Love your faces. Appreciate you guys taking this ride for us as we kind of figure out this podcast space and shit. And until next time, peace out, everybody. Say bye to the people. Yes.
Peace.
Oh, that was scary. Good night. All right. That's the end of the podcast. Alex, dude, thanks for hanging out, man. I know you're a Codations fan, but man, thanks for chilling and adding in feedback and stuff into the chat, questions, statements, things like that, man. It helps the. Again, I know when we get into some topics, not everybody, especially a lot of younger crowds on Twitch and YouTube and stuff. Not everybody's as interested in that stuff. As soon as we switch to the invest in finance stuff, I saw the viewer counts just start going. But nonetheless, appreciate you sticking around, helping keep the chat flowing and stuff. It means a lot to me, even though again you're here for Codation. I still appreciate it as well.
Dude, Alex in general, man, is just a really good guy, dude. Like I said, and I know for a fact, by the way, I don't know if he wants me to say it or not, but I know for a fact he tunes into your other live streams too, because there's been times where I'm not even watching you and I'm at home.
Yeah, he does.
I get a message from him and he's like, I'm like, what are you up to? He's like, oh, I'm just chilling in Derek's stream. And I'm like, oh, nice. So, I mean, yeah, dude, he's just an all around good guy, man. So yeah, I don't think he's only here for me. He's here. He's also supporting you too, my friend. So,
well, yeah. And I do appreciate it. He does pop in my chat sometimes, chats with me and stuff. He's been watching me play Subnautica a bit. He's been a couple of those streams and stuff. I've seen him. So yeah, I do appreciate that. I didn't mean that. I just meant I know you have found your way to all this through Codations, and I know you're a big supporter of his, which is awesome. But just saying that I do appreciate you, also, giving me some support means a lot.
Oh yeah.
All right. And with that, that's the end of the stream, guys. I hope you guys have a good night, and we will see you guys on the next podcast if you just show up for the podcast, or we'll see you on one of our streams whenever one of us are streaming.
We got to
See you
catch
guys later.
Valheim, baby.
Also, by the way, I bought a dedicated server for Valheim. We have a full, if you're not part of the Discord, we have a dedicated server, full world that runs 24/7. We got all kinds of people already building in it. We got me, Pax, Berg, Joker, no, not Ryan. Who was the other person? We got like 5 or 6 people so far building houses and shit.
Wait, you don't limit your your community server to paid members only?
Nope. I don't limit anything to paid members only,
bro.
That's why I say there's not,
because there's another content creator, dude, that does Valheim stuff, and I'm in his Discord, and everybody has been asking him for months now, dude, if he was going to come out with a Valheim server. Not months, I guess, when Valheim first came out. And long story short, I don't want to hold us up, but long story short, he made a community server, and then now he's charging people basically if they want to join in. They got to be a member and like a Patreon to his channel and everything else, and it just kind of put a salty taste, I feel like.
Yeah, I buy, I like when we were all doing Minecraft, I bought that. I just try to, again, I've said it before, but I really try to just provide as much value as I can, and then I just hope people will support that. If they don't, I don't have any expectations. If they don't, they don't. It's not like I do it and I'm like, oh, none of these motherfuckers are supporting me and I'm paying, like, whatever. It's something I want to do at the end of the day. I will say, especially with a game like Minecraft, you can have servers that can hold like 100, 200 people at a time. Valheim, with it only being 10 people at a time that can be on, you can have more people in there, but only 10 can be on at a time. If I had like a really, I don't know, I might do it as like a paid supporter thing, just because then I'm like, if you just try to open it up to the masses, if you got like, let's say, you average 500 to 1,000 people watching you per stream, I don't know how that would work out, to be honest.
Yeah, and that is him. I don't know if you've seen him or not, if you've looked up anything for Valheim.
I have not.
But basically, yeah, he's got a pretty big, he's got a pretty big following. Like, I don't know, I think he's pretty close to like 100,000 subs. And so, like, he's got a pretty good large following that's tuning into all of his content. And so, and not only that, I think ever since he started doing Valheim videos, like, he's got a lot of traffic, into his Discord, asking for a community server. So I think that's what he positioned it as, in his announcement, was basically stating he had to do that. You know what I mean? He had to do that because of Alex.
Well, the podcast is technically over, and I guess the stream is ending, but we were just chatting for a few before we. The way I'm trying to do it is it's kind of weird when you do a podcast live, because at the beginning everyone's coming in and they want to chat to you, but then like if you jump right into topics, then you can't really, because some people just say the most randomest shit. Which I don't care, but I'm just saying I don't really work with it. And then at the end, like I just feel weird sometimes, like, okay, podcast over, and then it's just like, boom, hit the stop button, and everybody that's in the stream just like, okay, bye. Like, you don't even really. So I've kind of just like having a little 10 minutes before, 10, 15 minutes before, 10, 15 minutes after. And then I can just go in and edit the podcast part out. I feel like it makes it a little cleaner. But anyways, go ahead.
No, I didn't have much to say. I was just going to tell you that.
Yeah, which makes sense to me. It does seem kind of like you said, whatever, but in a game like that where it's kind of, I would say at some point, if I did grow, I would see where I would have to do kind of a similar thing.
Or if you would see that we would have a bunch of randoms in the server, and your main guys couldn't get in. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then that becomes a problem, because then it's like, okay, like, what are we supposed to do now?
Yeah. Because there's kids out there that play 12 fucking hours a day, man. Like, I did when I was a kid. Like, so yeah, there'd be like the same 10 people, like, and then no one could ever get in to do their shit. It probably wouldn't be a very fun thing. So, Alex says, oh, okay, that's cool. Code and I playing Valheim together a lot. Yo, you guys got to jump on the server, man. I don't know if you guys are playing just yourselves but you guys should jump in and join the community of like.
Well, that's the beauty of Valheim, dude. Like,
right. But you should get houses on the server and all that. I know your stuff carries over, whatever you have and all that, but I just mean you guys should just get on, build some that way then when you get on to raid and stuff with us or something, or do bosses, or I'm just saying you guys should join in on the fun with us. If you guys are just doing, if Codation has his own server where he has all his community in, then do that. But
nope.
Alex, you do not have to be a friend with me to join anymore. In the Discord
server,
I have an actual dedicated server now that runs 24/7. The IP and the password's in there. You just got to put that in and you can get on the server. The only, I mean, the only rule for it basically is if anybody's in there griefing or fucking up other people's shit, then you're just gonna get insta banned. Not just from that, but you'll also get insta banned from the Discord, my chats. Like I don't mess around with that kind of stuff. I like cool people. If people aren't cool, get the fuck out. But yeah, but it's a dedicated server that runs 24/7. Whether I'm on or not, you can be on farming, building stuff. So that there's always. Pax is a big streamer as well. He's you've seen Pax around, I'm sure. He streams as well.
I've seen Pax, does he a content creator?
Yeah, well, he's a streamer. All he does is stream. That's it, which is not great in my opinion, but everybody does their own thing. He streams every single day. He does everyday streams. He doesn't make content from those. Okay. And he's small, obviously. And again, I'm not saying that as a dig. I mean, it's just my opinions are my own opinions, but my opinion is there's no reason to stream every single fucking day. You should make content. You should stream every other day, and then the other days make content out of your streams or something on YouTube, or TikTok or wherever, but make content elsewhere.
Yeah, but
anyways,
could you stream? But couldn't you stream every day and make content at the same time?
You could. That'd take a lot, but he works a full-time job too. He's an older guy like us. A little bit older. I mean, he's younger than us, but anyways, but yeah. So like Pax will be in. I mean, like even if I'm not on or around, there's people in the server playing. Pax, Berg, Joker. So yeah. So I mean, the same goes to you, Codations. The fucking IP and the password for the server are in the Discord in the announcements section. It's pinned to the top of the announcements. Join in, find a place to build a house, start building it. We all have like our house. Well, we're kind of redoing our houses right now. But then we're also building the main. Right now, we're working on building a dining hall, which will be like the cooking area and like people because we'll probably do some RP on the server, like where we join and like we're like RP role playing. So we're building the dining hall for that, and then we're also building a like a smelting and all that area, like where you go, like a blacksmithing area. Yep, like a forge area. So that's what we're working on for the big buildings, and then everybody's still doing stuff to their houses. So, but yeah, jump in and do whatever.
Are we building community? So are we building like houses relatively close, like to everybody else? Or are we building like I can live across the entire map and nobody cares?
You can do whatever you want. We're all building the current ones in there. We're building a community we're next to an ocean. We're building a community. That's just what we're doing. But I'm not against having several different cities forming if we get enough people joining and stuff. Like I'm down for that too. That would be cool as fuck if we have like different cities. Like if you and Alex were in another part of the map building up another city, and eventually we somehow connect the shit, and like that's all dope as fuck to me. Like I just want it to be whatever it turns into.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. No, Alex, what he just posted in here in his last comment that I see on stream,
building the arena.
Me and him had this. Yeah, dude, me and him had this.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, that I wanted to build an arena, right, like a gladiator arena. And then like do it like in the Black Forest, right? Like that thick forest shit, leave all this stuff up, hide like a chest, kind of like, like Hunger Games style. And then like pretty much everybody goes in, like whoever's on the server to participate in the event, we live stream it, you know what I mean? And then people go in, you're completely naked, you have nothing on, you know what I mean? And then you pretty much just like the last person alive, you know what I mean? And, and you can't get in, you can't get back into the arena. So you basically just duke it out, and then whoever wins. So wouldn't that be legit? And then and then you could even do it where you make you have like an item or something that they get, or maybe they get like some smoldering cords or whatever.
Well, and I was gonna say even I agree that would be, and even like dude, I mean I'm sure there's some ideas we can both come up with to like both make different video content if you're still wanting to create some content around Valheim to try it out or whatever. I mean there's things we could even do for our channels. Maybe I don't mean together, but I mean I can help. Like, let's say you have a video idea, I can help you do that one. You can help me do my, like, I don't know. I'm just saying there's those options there too. But yeah, that would be really sweet to do an arena. I will say, have you tried fist fighting somebody?
Oh yeah.
It takes a long ass time to fucking kill them. A long ass time.
Oh yeah.
We were having the problem that our health was regenning faster than, I was gonna say you might have to like tell people they can't eat or something, but.
Well, it would just be clean inventories. It would be like literally everything. They'd have to be naked. They have to be clean inventory. And then, and you can tell that just by their health pool. You're punching somebody. You could tell that, and not only that too, if they eat, how like, their bar instantly grows, so you can see that shit, but I just think it would be super
Well,
fun,
there's
especially
also
everybody
with me owning a dedicated server, you can take I can take like as the admin, I can remove items from people. So I can just remove like in case they might have something, I can remove it from everybody that's in the thing. That way if they're trying to cheat, it would remove it from them. And like I have all kinds of like god roll
Dude,
stuff.
I
things
just
I
think,
can do.
I just think that that would be legit.
I agree,
to
dude.
do like a full-on live stream event. I mean, and like I said, we can literally just, post about it, advertise it, to your
Yeah,
Discord,
maybe we can
and
do
then we just
like some
post
prizes, like real life prizes. I mean, I'd be
Right,
down to
right.
do
That's
something
what I'm
like
saying.
that.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It'd be freaking sweet. And you know what we could do with only being 10 slots? It wouldn't be that big of a deal because what we could do is we could host the first 10. You know what I mean? And then if we've
Yep.
got people waiting, that want to get in, I mean, that's further past that 10. You know what I mean? We could just, have people disconnect, who participated in the first one, you know what I mean? Bring another set of people
Yep.
in, and that'd be the whole live stream. We do that for however long, you know what I mean? And dude, I just think it'd be a hit. I think people would be like, holy shit, this would be sweet.
Yeah, I agree, dude.
Just start fist pumping people, dude. It'd be pretty cool.
I agree 100%. That's definitely something. I mean, if you're wanting to do it by yourself, I won't steal your idea. But if not, that's definitely something we should do. We could do together, and it would probably be epic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, here's what I'm gonna tell you. One, I'm probably not gonna do it by myself. So that's I'll just put that out there. But anyways.
Okay. James says salute, man. James, you joined right at the end, my dude. But salute.
Salute to
We
you,
are
brother.
ending, my good
Salute
sir.
to
But
you.
we hope you'll subscribe and join us on the next one. We stream all the time
Bro.
and do podcasts once a week.
I'm watching the relay, like back on Twitch. We saluted at the exact same time. I don't know if you timed that or not, but
I
we literally did it
didn't,
exact
but
same time.
I didn't. I mean, you said it, and I don't know. I thought salute, and you must have stopped salute.
I
too,
did the same thing. Dude. I did the exact. I was literally watching the replay, and it's like at the exact same time we both like saluted and did it at the same time. It was perfect, dude. Anyways,
but yeah, that's we're ending it for the night. So stream, have a good one. Thanks for joining. See you guys on the next one. Later.